with Magic Johnson, covering the finals, Dallas and Miami, and I sat with the great Irvin Magic Johnson for a quarter and a half. And everything he said was going to happen or should be happening, according to the coaches or the players, happened for the last quarter and a half. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He was that great. That was Tony Romo yesterday.
I mean, what we're going to do, win another 4 games this year, next year, after winning?
I got to bounce, bro. Hire Tony Romo as your coach in Dallas. You might win something. Talk to y'all in 22 hours and tell them peace of love.
Hey, what's up? It's Will Kane. Coming up right after Stephen A. Smith. Join us on The Will Kane Show, live on ESPN Radio, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN News.
What if the kid who cut your grass worked like most financial advisors? Instead of a straight-up $20, you'd get some confusing bill with surcharges and add-ons. What the heck is a blade height adjustment fee? Creative planning is different. Our fiduciary advisors work off one transparent fee structure, and we never receive commissions on your investments. Dial 866-436-3415 for a free, no-obligation consultation with Creative Planning. Investment strategies recommended by Creative Planning are not assured of earning a profit or avoiding a loss in declining markets.
If 2018 was another year of, I'll get out of this bad job someday, why haven't you considered an information technology career? Is it because you're not a math whiz? Look, that's okay. It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in months, not years. Classes meet on campus or live online just a few times a week. Make New Year, New Career your resolution at mycomputercareer.edu. mycomputercareer.edu.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and the table has been set. We now know the Patriots and the Rams will be facing off in Atlanta in a few weeks for the Super Bowl. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, they combined for 6 catches, 74 yards yesterday. They've hit a stride, but they say there's one more game to go.
We found a way to play our best the last 4 games, and we're going to need one more great game.
It's huge. That's the trust that we have. Just to go out there and always be on the same page when we need to be is huge.
The first time Belichick and Brady won the Super Bowl together, Rams head coach Sean McVay was just 16 years old. Rams gunslinger Jeff Goff was just 7. The Pats are 11-0 in the postseason since 2001 when a player rushes for more than 100 yards, so look for them to get Sony Michel going early. Meanwhile, the Rams have feasted off the play action. They've run it most out of all 32 teams, so look for the Rams to fake it a ton to Gurley and CJ in the backfield. Listen to our stream for more analysis, live 24/7 at ESPN690.com.
All offers are with approved credit and not in conjunction. See dealer for complete details. Start something new. Sales needed.
Get off to a great start with a great deal on any new vehicle in our lineup at the one and only Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Bay Meadows. Drive a brand new Jeep Cherokee from as low as $219 a month. Just $219 for a Cherokee. Choose from the best selection of Dodge Charger or Challenger. Get the one you want and save up to $6,000 off MSRP. Every new Renegade is priced at up to $7,000 off. With finance rates as low as 0%, you'll save even more. Our lenders are ready to make you a new car loan, even if you have less than perfect credit. See our inventory at jaxcjd.com. Then come in for a test drive. We have over 1,300 cars, trucks, SUVs, and minivans. You'll find the right one for you and the best deal. Bring us your trade. We'll buy it, even if you don't buy from us. Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Doing our best for every customer every day. I-295 and Bay Meadows.
There are those who play the blues, and they're Chicago's electric blues legend, the one and only Buddy Guy.
And it goes down
Saturday, March 23rd at the Florida Theater.
Well, you know it's 9 below 0.
Tickets are on sale now at the box office and at floridatheater.com. Don't miss Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee Buddy Guy.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. And you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to. Nope. I'm sure you've got a perfectly good excuse. Kids, work. I get it. You're busy. So what better time than now? Let's begin. Raise one finger if you're a man. Ladies, none yet. Oh, count in your head if you're driving. Now, 3 more fingers for everyone over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. 1 more if you're not physically active. Another finger if anyone in your family has type 2 diabetes. Another if you've got high blood pressure. If you're overweight, raise another finger. 2 if you're very overweight. And 3 if you're really overweight. You've just taken the world's first audio pre-diabetes test. And if you're holding up 5 or more fingers, visit doihaveprediabetes.org or talk to your doctor. There's no excuse because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners. Hello, it's me, the designer jeans in your closet, the back of your closet. What am I doing here? Would you keep caviar in the back of your fridge with the ketchup and old milk? Yeah, I don't think so. So what happened to us? I mean, have you seen my label? I used to summer in the Hamptons, and now I'm stuck behind a pair of sweats. Sure, I never really fit you quite right, and one of my pockets is so small you can't even squeeze your hand into it. But it's all about the look, and I look good. I need to get back out on the scene so I can be seen. You know, going to fancy parties, getting expensive iced coffees, Sunday fun days, okay? So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Sure, humans can be a little weird at times, but take it from me. I'm a dog. And a person is about the best thing that can happen to a shelter pet. So if you want to learn how you can be that person, get down to your local pet shelter or visit theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The focus on this day after 2 great games in the NFC and AFC championship games remains on the blatant missed pass interference call in New Orleans. Rams not penalized on the play. They went on to win the game. Because of the fallout from the NFC title game, the league might consider making certain penalties like pass interference reviewable, says ESPN's Adam Schefter.
We're not increasing the number of challenges that a coach gets per game. You're just saying that if you choose to challenge a pass interference call, right, that you're allowed to do that. So if that were the rule, Sean Payton could have challenged at that time and he would have won and it would have been pass interference. So that's one thing that you could do that I'm sure the league will discuss.
Adam Schefter on Golick and Wingo. Defensive tackle Fletcher Cox among the Eagles players tweeting their support of quarterback Carson Wentz after the Philly Voice published a report where team sources described Wentz as selfish and egotistical. Cox said none of the report is true. NBA Lakers forward LeBron James likely out of 14th straight game tonight against the Warriors with an injured groin. 10 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Right now, at participating Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care Centers, you'll get a $20 prepaid Visa gift card by mail when you buy a Napa Legend Premium Battery. That's Napa Know-How. Offer ends February 28, 2019.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Hello and welcome in on a Monday. The Super Bowl is all set and the Senior Bowl is underway in Mobile, Alabama. That's where you will find us, ESPN 690 AM on the road. Action Sports Jax for the first time. Week number 2 begins away from home. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane. Justin Kuzart back home pushing the buttons. Kuz, hope he had a good weekend. I think he was on the road this weekend, but made it back safely, which is good. Marcel Robinson is here with us, and he will chime in. And Stuart Weber wants to make it 6 for 6 in terms of contributing to the show, so I think he might stop by the studios back there and make it happen. But, wow, what a Monday to be on the radio, on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere we're at, on the stream on ESPN690.com. We've got a lot to talk about. Did you enjoy those football games, Austin Lane?
I mean, did you enjoy them? I remember you saying that you wanted some exciting games, man. 2 overtime thrillers. I think we got what we were asking for.
We got some overtime thrillers. First time that's ever happened. 2 games on Championship Sunday going to OT. That was fantastic. And we have what else is very important in sports. controversy. Controversy is important. We will talk about the penalties. We will talk about the overtime rules. And are those two things that people want to change? I already have on my social media, on Twitter, a little poll question. Which one needs to be fixed more, these blatantly missed calls or the overtime rules? I think many people will go with the blatantly missed calls. But we'll break down all the games. Quick thought, though, on this matchup. Rams and Patriots, Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta in a couple weeks.
Well, first of all, just like we predicted, right, the Rams versus the Pats, I mean, I think we're on the kind of the same page where we thought it was going to be the Saints and the Chiefs. So kind of threw a curveball at us, but, that's football. As far as the game coming up, I mean, it's hard to pick against Brady now, isn't it? I mean, I've literally picked against him the past 2 weeks, and it came back to bite me in the butt big time. Man, Tom Brady with what he's got, on that offense, it's amazing how he can elevate the play of everyone around him. Whether it's the running backs, whether it's the receivers. I mean, Gronk even had a couple catches. I thought Gronk was dead. I thought he was in the ground. Gronk comes out of nowhere, has a few catches. And then as far as that Saints and Rams game, I mean, the Saints were up. The Saints had that home field advantage. They're up 13-0. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a 3rd and long from the 30-yard line of the Rams go for that fake punt. And we've been talking about it the whole playoffs. It's these fake punts, these big 4th down calls that you got to have some big cojones to do it, and it ended up paying out well for them.
That thing was about to be blowout city if they don't go for that fake punt right there. They convert, they go get a field goal, I think it was right then, made it 13-3, kind of changed the momentum in the game. But in that loud building with Drew Brees, that no doubt changed the football game. It's tough to describe a play that changed the football game in the Patriots game because there were so many big plays. Of course, people will point to the roughing the passer against Tom Brady, but a play later, although they would have punted, so this play probably wouldn't have happened. I thought Gronkowski got mugged going down the field. They didn't call that. Yeah. And I still think the Mahomes roughing the passer a little bit later on and the pass interference down the field against the Patriots was a little suspect too. So I thought those calls kind of evened out. Plus the playmaking of both teams in the fourth quarter was so brilliant that we didn't really talk about the officiating as much. The one thing you will say about the Patriots, they're already so good. They already have the GOAT with Brady. They might have the GOAT with Belichick, depending on how you view that one. Do they have to be this dang lucky all the time, too? I mean, how did that ball not hit Edelman?
That is like the most Patriots play of all time that I've seen in that, in the franchise history. Thank God for those camera angles, we could actually see. I mean, I thought for sure there was no way he did not touch that ball, and
they got it right.
Yeah, and obviously Kansas City scooped and scored a touchdown. That would have been such a huge momentum changer there. And the fact that literally fractions of a centimeter away from, touching his hand and somehow he manages not to touch it, it's just unreal, man. Yeah, unreal.
Well, you go back now 17 years ago, 2002. This is when the Brady era started. And I got a little personal experience with this one. I was working in Providence, Rhode Island back at the time when Drew Bledsoe went down against the Jets, when Tom Brady entered and he never left, when Tom Brady and the Patriots, that was a huge upset against the Rams, the St. Louis Rams at that time in New Orleans. They were heavy favorites in that game, and the Patriots shocked the world. Tom Brady, the legend, was born, and here we are 17 years later. That was Kurt Warner, the older quarterback, the veteran quarterback, kind of handing off to Tom Brady. Are we about to see a situation where Tom Brady hands off to a younger quarterback in Jared Goff some 17 years later? Fascinating matchup in Atlanta in a couple of weeks. And I'll share some of the experiences of that Rams-Patriots one as we get closer and closer to Super Bowl 53, because we'll be in Atlanta as well all next week getting ready for the Super Bowl. So a lot to talk about when it comes to that game. And I do think you have to give the Rams a lot of credit. They never went away. You talked about the fake punt, but there were several instances in that game where they could have gone away. That the moment could have got too big for him. I thought Goff delivered a couple of huge plays at times, and I have not always been on Goff is great side of things. You look at Dante Fowler Jr., obviously traded midseason, makes a huge play. He's made big plays. This was the argument, by the way, for keeping Dante, or if you supported Dante at all over the years in a Jags uniform and you wondered if he should give you more. I think that was a fair criticism, but he came up big at big moments at certain times for the Jaguars. Heck, he did it against the Patriots in week 2. He had the strip sack fumble against Tom Brady. So he's really been the kryptonite for Tom Tom Brady. If you go back to the AFC Championship game last year and also in Week 2 for the Jags, we'll see if he can make another big play in Super Bowl 53. But the Rams went all in with this roster, and it paid dividends because they got to the promised land with a very young coach and a young quarterback. What's fascinating to me about the Patriots is what we can't lose sight of and what we have to appreciate is we are watching the Michael Jordan of football. We are watching, whether you think it's Jack Nicklaus or Tiger Woods of golf. Tom Brady is that guy. We are watching essentially the Babe Ruth of baseball. I mean, Tom Brady is the guy that you will tell your grandkids about. My kids will tell their grandkids about. If you get a chance to watch him right now. Some people said, hey, you should retire. You've done enough. Well, then we wouldn't have seen yesterday. I mean, listen, I don't like the Patriots. I know a lot of people don't like them. You get sick of the Patriots.
I don't like the Patriots.
You have to appreciate the greatness, though. And I think we have to at least appreciate that when we're witnessing it, when we're seeing it right in front of our eyes. Because, again, this is a legendary story that will be told for decades and decades.
Well, and here's the thing, too. You're kind of talking about, Tom Brady eventually handing the reins off to the next generation, Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff. I mean, I think after the Patriots game, Tom Brady made it a habit to actually leave his locker room, go in the Chiefs' locker room, talk to, Patrick Mahomes and just kind of comfort him a little bit, tell him, hey, he's going to be back and whatnot. You talk about handing off the reins, but do you see Brady slowing down anytime soon? I mean,
no.
the dude's eating avocado ice cream. He's got like an all-mushroom diet.
Hey, he had whatever you had today on the trip up. I mean,
well, yeah,
whatever you
had
mixed 45 things into a smoothie.
I did.
And drank. So you're eating like he's eating.
Well, then I also had about 45 peanut butter cups too. But whatever.
The count is on.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, let's be honest. He's been doing it for a long time, and he's still doing it at the highest of levels. I mean, granted, they're still their backs did really well yesterday. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think Michael had over 100 yards rushing again. Rex Burke had 2 touchdowns. I mean, he got a lot of help, but at the end of the day, he led that drive down that field, and, it set it up with him. So to say he's going to hand off the reins, that sounds good and gravy and everything, but this guy might still have 5 more years left, and it's crazy to say in the National Football League.
He's definitely got a couple of years left.
Yeah.
And I give you 2 reasons why. One is because he still has the fastball. What people miss out on is that he's got the fastball. So if you could still throw that football the way he does, that play to Edelman over the middle where he zips it by the defender, he can still make that play, which is so important. That's why he's so good. But I had someone on Twitter say, after the first drive of the game, and I said, that's Brady's brilliance. He said, what do you mean? They ran for 42 yards. I said, who do you think gets them into the run play?
Exactly.
I mean, that's where if you think Brady's brilliance is throwing the football, it's the mind games he plays at the line of scrimmage to get his team into position. Do you know they ran 94 plays against the Chiefs? And they still had to go to overtime. What does that tell you? They don't have as good a team as the Chiefs, and they still won. In fact, if you took the 4 teams yesterday they have played, the New England Patriots had clearly the worst roster of the 4 teams. Yet who's going to the Super Bowl for a 9th time and 3rd consecutive time? Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. We have to talk about the penalty. We have to talk about the overtime rules, plus some Jags news about the London trip and also another Pro Bowler added to the roster from Jacksonville. That's all on the way from Mobile, Alabama. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 AM.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
At World Imports, we're car people. We love cars. If you're in the market for a luxury pre-owned automobile, we can help. We don't just sell you a car. We help you select your car, the car you've been dreaming about. No gimmicks here, no free TVs, and we won't put your car in a new age vending machine. Audi, BMW, Infiniti, Mercedes, or any other high-end pre-owned automobile, view our inventory at worldimportsusa.com. We'll find the car that makes the most sense for your style and budget. Visit us today at worldimportsusa.com.
I really couldn't play golf. I couldn't even walk very far.
Here's Nancy Anderson to talk about her experience with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
I chose Southeast Orthopedic Specialist because of the reputation of the different surgeons and the hospital experience, and just overall, I'd heard so many great things. And truly, my life is enriched tenfold because now I can do anything.
Get your body moving again with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Find out more at se-ortho.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau and Austin Lane from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. We hit the road to Mobile, Alabama in the Senior Bowl.
I was a 2010 alum scoring touchdowns. Now I'm covering the touchdowns. I'm going to give you some Jags insider information, who the Jags looking at, who's looking good at the Senior Bowl practices. We'll check it out.
We'll break it all down from Mobile, Alabama.
Last time I was at the Senior Bowl, I tried to tap the keg and didn't go so well. I tried to redeem that.
3-6 on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back to Mobile, Alabama, the who's who at the Senior Bowl for the next week. And, of course, that game will be played on the weekend. But really, all the good stuff happens over the next couple of days. In fact, we've already seen Jag scouts here and team representatives from all over the NFL interviewing players. Practices will start tomorrow. Practice for the next 3 days. It will be rainy here in Mobile. It looks like a couple of days. If you're watching us on the video stream, you can tell it's pretty sunny. We're getting kind of a lot of sun through the windows here in the hotel in Mobile, Alabama. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane here on a Monday with so much to talk about, but you just heard the little promo spot there about tapping the keg.
Yeah.
And I know that's one of your missions as we drove up this morning.
Absolutely.
But couldn't find the keg. You went searching already.
Well, yeah, let's not get it twisted here. One of my first jobs when I got here was to try to find that keg. For those of you that don't realize or understand what I'm talking about with a keg, when I was here in 2010, in the lunchroom, they actually had a keg in the corner. And from my understanding, what a scout told me was the fact that they put the keg in the corner to see if anyone's dumb enough to actually try to tap the keg. So obviously nobody tapped the keg. I like to party every once in a while, but I wasn't that desperate at the Senior Bowl. So when I got here, this afternoon, my first order of business was trying to find that keg, kind of bypass some security. I wasn't supposed to be in the team lunchroom, but I somehow got in there. Call me Danny Ocean, and went to go try to find the keg. Didn't see the keg, Brent, but I'll tell you what, there is some kind of cooler / container that a keg could fit in. There was nothing in there when I saw it, so stay tuned for keg talk.
It's been set up. It's been set. Yeah,
it might be getting set up later.
It could be set up later on. We're early arrivals here in Mobile, Alabama. Let's hey, Justin Kuzer's back there, the Kuz, of course. Kuz wanted to say, hey, you're working on a lot of the technical stuff back there. I don't know if it's all coming through and working, but first time on the road for us, so you got to keep your fingers crossed. Nice job back there.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much. It's a little lonely in here without you guys.
I bet it is. How was your trip? Before we get going on the rest of this NFL stuff and some of the Jags news, did you know that Kuz, I didn't realize this during our show Friday, but I talked to Kuz after, and he hopped on a train to Raleigh, North Carolina, an overnight train on Friday. And he was in Raleigh for the last couple of days.
Yeah, I had no idea that was the case.
How was the train ride?
It was awesome, except for it was really delayed. So we actually didn't leave Jacksonville until about 4 in the morning.
Wow.
As you can imagine, we were a tad bit grumpy about that.
I bet, because didn't you just get back this morning?
Yeah, I got in 6:30 this morning.
All right. So is that a good way to go? Normally, though, you think it's a nice little way to take a trip to Raleigh?
It's about the same length drive, but you don't have to drive, and you can sleep and stuff. So it was kind of relaxing, and it wasn't as wearing as actually making the drive would be.
Cuz, I mean, you could have gave me a phone call, man. I could have turned my Uber button on, and I could have Ubered you there to North Carolina.
How much do you think that would have been?
Not cheap. I mean, how much was the train ride?
$50.
Yeah, go ahead and times that by about 7, 8, and maybe we'll be talking.
I would say at least
more than that
to get up there. All right, we'll check back in with Kuz a little bit later on. let's talk some more NFL, and let's begin with a couple of Jags notes, and then I want to get into the penalties and the overtime rules. But Calais Campbell going to the Pro Bowl, which is cool, well earned. I mean, he should have probably be going based on what he did this year, 10.5 sacks, #1 edge run defender. But the Jags at 5-11. I thought he could trump that record even with what people know about him. Either way, it'll look at the same at the end of the day on the resume. 4th Pro Bowl for Calais Campbell, deservedly so.
Obviously, unfortunately with the Pro Bowl, it's kind of like a popularity contest. And if your team isn't doing that well, you're not going to see a lot of guys in there. And, granted the Jags had a rough season, but they still had a lot of good guys on defense, and he was one of the main reasons why. I'm glad he got picked up by the Pro Bowl roster and everything. Well deserved, obviously, like you said. So it'll be him and Jalen Ramsey. A little more incentive to watch the game now.
Yeah, it takes over for J.J. Watt, by the way, who's injured and won't play. So good for Calais. We'll see him in Orlando, by the way. We'll have our crew down there in Orlando on Wednesday to catch up with Jalen Ramsey and Calais Campbell. We'll talk more about the Pro Bowl on that day. Hopefully hear from both players. That will be a lot of fun. Other news for the Jags coming out this morning as we're driving up here, in fact, is the Jags will play a game in London. That's not the news. It will be against the Houston Texans, a divisional opponent. Second time they've done that. They played the Colts in London a couple years back. I think the bigger news about today is that there's not 2 games in London.
You were really surprised by that when you found out the information.
I really was. I've been waiting for this for a couple of years. What I really think the NFL has yet to experiment with is the idea of playing 2 games in a row over there. And the Jags could play an away game and then a home game back-to-back. So they could spend 10 days over there, back-to-back games. Is that a huge advantage? What does that do to the body? All those things. They are pretty much the guinea pig when it comes to the NFL in London. They signed up for it. So I think this has been talked about, and I just thought this was the year they were going to do it because of the Raiders situation out in Oakland where they might not play their home games. But I think that's what ended up changing this whole deal. I think Oakland has probably reached an agreement of sorts to play its games out there in California for this year, and I think that's what changed here, this situation where it was almost a given that the Jags would play 2 games. In fact, a lot of folks, from what I understand, had made plans in the Jags building and prepped as, hey, be ready for this. And then all of a sudden, when the news came out today, it was a no-go, just 1 game against the Texans. We'll find out exactly when, of course, when the schedule comes out. But the Jags will play the Houston Texans in London, just 1 game, which, by the way, might save me a lot of money.
It'll save you a lot of money for sure. But I feel
because
like
I was going to bring the family over, so it will really save me a lot of money. Now I'm not.
I mean,
sorry,
hey,
fam.
Fish and chips can cost a lot of money when you add it all up. I feel like if you're a Jaguars fan, though, you think you're a little disappointed in the fact that they're not playing back-to-back games because make no difference about it. It's a huge advantage because, I mean, they played in London, every single year now for like the past, I think, 4 or 5 years. So they have that advantage. So anytime a team can come over there and they're not used to playing, I mean, the Jags have the advantage because you've always seen usually the Jags play pretty well in London. So if they could have got a back-to-back, I mean, that could have been another win for them.
Yeah,
easily.
I do think the Jags have an advantage going over there because they know the drill, and now there's a lot of players that know the drill, and many players now around the NFL have been over there, but the Jags plan has worked. I think a lot of other teams have adopted the Jags plan too, of going over on Thursday night, coming back on Sunday afternoon. So I think the secret's out, but I would have been interested to see, does the long trip in London help or hurt you? I could see from your standpoint of saying, yes, it helps you because now another team has to travel over, but you've acclimated to the time zone and you're all set and you feel at home and all those things. But it also could be, all right, haven't slept in my own bed in 10 days.
Good point.
Get me out of here.
Yeah.
And so it would have been really interesting to see. I think we will get that at some point down the road. It just won't be in 2019. Just a quick note on the Jags schedule. Now, because it's the Houston Texans going over there, and I get Deshaun Watson is the quarterback and J.J. Watt, but I think the good thing for the Jags is that they get to see all the quarterbacks at home. Rivers, Mahomes, coming into Jacksonville now. Those home games, that will be a good thing. Obviously, Luck, and I'm missing one along the way. Who am I missing?
Mariota? You talking about?
Yeah, but that's not a big draw. Rivers, Luck, Mahomes. I'm going to get the schedule in a moment, and I'll fill you in on one more quarterback. But at least the good thing is it's a good home schedule for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the fans.
Yeah.
And that's always a good thing, because sometimes you take one of those big games. In the years past, San Francisco or Dallas or one of those games has been put over in London, and that kind of stinks when that is the case. All right, let's get back to the NFL in these games and really the talk about it, right? Great headline in the New Orleans Times-Picayune. Reffin' unbelievable is what it said. And it was beautifully done. They'll win an award for that probably.
Absolutely.
But it was. There's a lot of things about this whole scenario that are mind-boggling. I think there's too much blame on the officials at times. I don't think Sean Payton's getting enough of the blame for the way he called that. But the bottom line is his play call should have resulted in a pass interference play and a first down, even if I disagree with the way he managed the clock in that situation, and some of that should be on him, and he's getting none of the blame. And Drew Brees made a couple of errant throws that could have cost him the game. He's getting none of the blame. This is all on the Zebras. I think the Zebras get way too much blame overall in sports. But the bottom line is that was as blatant could be. It's one of the worst calls you could see in a big-time game.
And, and being a former football player, it's ingrained in you that the refs don't control the outcome of the game, that, there's like 5 or 6 plays that can help you win or lose a ball game. It's not just one play. And to an extent, I agree with that. But when we're talking about that game, the Rams versus the Saints, and Brees throws that ball, man, the guy literally tackled him. I mean, it was not even close. It admitted it. Yeah, it wasn't even close, and it's like I said, I don't want to say that play was the reason why the Saints lost, because like you said, I mean, there were some questionable decisions. I don't know why you would pass and not run the ball when it's that close to the end of the game, run some more time off, things like that. But you can't deny that was pass interference. And if it was pass interference, it would have got called. That would have been first down. You could have ran out the clock and won the game. And you're not going to go to overtime.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. By the way, it was Drew Brees is the other quarterback I was missing. The Jags will have Drew Brees come to Jacksonville next year. But and thanks on Twitter for that reminder, too. But, here's the deal. All right, we all know. By the time we're talking about this on Monday afternoon, everybody's talked about it. You know it. We all know it. We knew it last night. It's ridiculous. It's a bad call. The NFL, what are you going to do about it? I've got a solution. And my solution about replay has always been this. One, just to give a little background, if you're a new listener and you haven't heard me talk about replay much, I think we have too much replay in sports. I don't like all the replay in sports. What I think replay should be used for in sports is the blatantly missed call. The call that made you get off your couch watching the game and say, how is that not called this way? Now, you have to think about that for a second. I'm talking about the average person. I'm talking about a guy that's not invested in the game. That makes you jump off the couch and say, are you kidding me? You just missed that call. So for 2 examples, one, that call there, and the Edelman play on the punt. Yeah. Like, those 2 plays definitely need to be reviewed. Yeah. And you're going to tell me, well, it's a penalty. How can that be reviewed? Who cares? Yeah. If it was that blatant.
Exactly.
And I don't care if it was, to be honest with you, I don't care if it was 30-17 at the time. If it makes you jump off the couch and say that is not right, you need to look at that play and potentially change it and make the right call to save all of this.
Well, and I understand to that point, but then, I guess, playing devil's advocate is like, well, do you just call every single penalty? Is every single penalty under review? Or is it the ones that just...
off the couch on every penalty?
No, I don't. But then, some people might, I mean, let's be honest. In that Saints game, everyone jumped out of the couch. All right, yes. It was obvious. But there's some gray line there, because some plays are going to be, it's going to happen maybe in the first quarter. It's not going to be a monumental swing in the game, or at least we think it's not. And I might jump out of the couch and you might not be. So it's about finding that line, I guess. And I understand, they're saying they don't want to do that because then it's going to stop the flow of the game. It takes 10 seconds to see that was a pass interference and then call the play. It's not going to stop the flow of the game.
Absolutely. So I'll expand on that. We'll talk a little bit more about it and how to remedy the situation. Plus, do we need to remedy the overtime rule after what the Patriots just did to the Chiefs last night as well? 2 big topics coming up next here from Mobile, Alabama, and we will talk Senior Bowl as well on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and the table has been set. We now know the Patriots and the Rams will be facing off in Atlanta in a few weeks for the Super Bowl. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, they combined for 6 catches, 74 yards yesterday. They've hit a stride, but they say there's one more game to go.
We found a way to play our best the last 4 games, and we're going to need one more great game.
It's huge. That's the trust that we have. Just to go out there and always be on the same page when we need to be is huge.
The first time Belichick and Brady won the Super Bowl together, Rams head coach Sean McVay was just 16 years old. Rams gunslinger Jeff Goff was just 7. The Pats are 11-0 in the postseason since 2001 when a player rushes for more than 100 yards, so look for them to get Sony Michel going early. Meanwhile, the Rams have feasted off the play action. They've run it most out of all 32 teams, so look for the Rams to fake it a ton to Gurley and CJ in the backfield. Listen to our stream for more analysis, live 24/7 at ESPN690.com.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Have Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra failed you? Men's Choice Medical Center can help today. Custom blended medications that are safe, effective, and affordable, even with diabetes, high blood pressure, and prostate issues. Men's Choice Medical Center. Regain your love life. Results guaranteed on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call 904-290-4211. That's 904-290-4211.
Parents, there's a better option for your child's development and education. Seacoast Christian Academy is a private school here in Jacksonville that offers challenging and engaging educational opportunities. Focused on a college preparatory curriculum that is backed by strong Christian values, they take on children as young as a year old through 12th grade. Right now, Seacoast Christian Academy is enrolling students who have the Step Up Scholarship. Step Up is an income-based scholarship program that most don't realize they qualify for. And Seacoast Christian Academy is accepting applications right now. For more information, call them or click SeacoastChristianAcademy.com.
Boss, you're not going to believe it.
Whoa, settle down, Buttercup.
It's all over the internet. You know the ding-dong video cameras that are all the rage?
Yeah.
Well, reports are flooding in that engineers and executives at the company had highly privileged access to camera feeds.
Huh?
Boss, they've been spying on customers.
Really?
Yeah, just do an online search for doorbell spying. It's incredible.
Wow, I spy with my little eye.
Yeah, and since they've been bought out by that big mega corporation, you know customer surveillance can't be far behind.
Ooh, can you say Big Brother is watching?
No kidding. Boss, I don't understand why these folks don't just get a safe touch system. No one's hacking or spying on those things.
Yeah, well, that's another reason why we still have to live by the Crooks or Us motto. Stay away from safe touch houses.
Yeah.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick & Wingo. If you want to win every sports debate at work, listen to us every day on your way to work on ESPN 690 or at your desk, ESPN690.com.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Hey, welcome back from Mobile, Alabama. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690, streaming on ESPN690.com. And we're also on video, and the sun right behind Austin is you are like an angel right now here in Mobile.
That's what my mom always says, so I'm glad it's finally starting to show up on camera as well. Yeah, sorry for those folks at home trying to watch me. It's a little bright for you guys.
It certainly is. We didn't really have much of a choice, but the sun is shining here in Mobile and right behind us. So we're trying to bring it to you on a bunch of different platforms. Hopefully you can see us okay.
Looks kind of like a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
That's like a Michael Bay solar flare. His calling card in movies like Transformers and whatnot.
Absolutely, it's let's continue the conversation on the penalties in the NFL. All right, here's my suggestion.
Okay, what do you got?
And so I think you're right. By the way, I think there are calls that will say, well, everybody as fans will disagree with. Okay, what's the call you jump off the couch at? Mm-hmm. Understood. But what we need, and all kidding aside, although this might sound like a joke, is that BW3 button out of the commercial. I mean, that's what you need.
Yeah.
Like, New York needs that.
Yeah.
New York needs to be able to communicate on a play like that you got that so egregiously wrong, and we know it right away, that we have to take a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you did that, say you had 2 of those a game, that New York can chime in on. And listen, We understand officiating is hard. We understand the game is fast. We understand you don't have the replays that Fox and CBS and NBC and ESPN all have, that everybody else does at home. It's changed the way we watch. It's changed the way we criticize officials. And so I get all that. I think we're too hard on officials. I think that stuff is hard. And I think we blame the officials when I could have blamed Sean Payton and Drew Brees and a bunch of different plays in that game. But again, the egregious play, you need to protect the officials to a degree and say, hey, we got your back here. Somehow you missed that one, but we didn't. And I don't think that changes anything. I don't think that slows the game down. I think it gets the game right. And I said this to you coming up here today. I think one of the reasons the NFL is so successful is because there is controversy. I think we like controversy in our sports. We talk about this now all day today, not just because the Rams and the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl, because they made a huge mistake and it made a change. It changed the outcome of the game. It changed legacies. It changed Drew Brees going to a Super Bowl. It changed a whole fan base's perspective on a Monday morning and a Sunday night. It changed so many different things. And I think there's a beauty in that in sports. We've all done it. We've all played sports. I still remember a play that was an out safe call at home plate in the semifinals of the Little League State Championship tournament. And they told our coach in the parking lot after the game they got the call wrong. And we lost the game anyway. They didn't change it.
Yeah.
Everybody's experienced those kind of things if you've played sports. I think that is a part of the human element of sports. I don't think we need to go computerized and all that all the time. And I gave you this example. I think tennis is far less entertaining because we know they get it right every time. That technology is so good that we don't ever have controversy in tennis unless there's an outburst of emotion by a player, or we just tune in because it's great tennis, which means we only tune in when Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Serena Williams play, because that's all we really care about in tennis, at least here in the United States. So I think that's made that sport a little boring from a worldwide audience perspective, a water cooler kind of topic perspective. It's made the NFL, the controversy that we talk about day in, day out, play in, play out, but I still believe you can prevent this egregious one. Just give them 2 BW3 buttons per game, and bam, you can fix it.
No, I absolutely agree with the controversy. I mean, it's funny you mentioned tennis with Serena Williams. Do you remember, it must have been like a year or 2 years ago, when she kind of went off on like that line judge over a call?
Yes.
And granted, I mean, it was a pretty obvious call because they had the technology.
And that became a headline.
Yeah, but that was a headline for like 2 weeks.
Yes.
Everyone was talking about how Serena went off on this line judge and whatnot.
But it was because of the outburst, not because of the call.
No, exactly. It was because of the outburst. So like you said, I mean, and you can kind of put that in the controversy category. Like no one's ever really seen Serena kind of, and people were saying that she was whining. I don't think she was really whining. But, I mean, some people thought that she came across as a little stuck up and whiny. Whatever, so be it. But yeah, people love, especially in the social media age where everything's accessible at your fingertips. Anytime someone's got something to say, regardless of how bad it is, they're going to put it on Twitter or they're going to put it on Instagram. I mean, memes now. I'm sure you saw all the memes with like the refs and everything. Talking about
Todd Gurley didn't help.
Todd Gurley really fueled that fire, didn't he?
Well, and by the way, they all did. They all admitted it. They knew it. You couldn't even try to say, "Oh no, that wasn't interference. That wasn't." You couldn't even do. It was that bad.
Yeah.
Like, to go, just to hammer home my point one more time, we already are replaying enough. These are games that are crucial games. They're already long games. They're entertaining games. Nobody would have cared if that game got stopped for 2 minutes and everybody got it right. Now, listen, the other side of it is it created more drama because the Rams had to go down and score, went to overtime.
Made for a great game.
So it made for even better ratings, more drama, but it was so egregious that you toe the line of controversy compared to integrity. You don't want to lose the integrity of sport, and I think you have to be so careful. We're listening to a Mike Tyson interview coming up today.
Yeah.
I think what happened to boxing is the fact that there was always controversy in boxing because it's judged, it's scored, and so you always have this controversy. But when Mike Tyson bit Holyfield's ear, that crossed the line of integrity.
Yeah.
That crossed the line and said, you know what? this is we know this. We feel like this might be fixed at times, or we feel like it might be skewed at times. But now it's become crazy, and it's too much. So you want to be careful, and I'm not saying the NFL's in danger of that, but if you have too many of these circumstances where you are impacting games and Super Bowl berths like this, that is very important, and you have to be careful of that. I've long been a believer, if they did not review the Edelman play on the sideline, that the nose of the ball just hit the ground, I'd be fine if they didn't do that. They don't have to look at that play for me. You know why? Because I didn't jump off the couch and say, oh, no, that was... No, they had to show me 5 replays before I said, that was an incomplete pass.
And even when you saw the replays, you still don't know. I mean, I'm talking about the punt return one where it went off his fingers.
Return one.
Yeah, I mean, the punt return one was just... You didn't know it. I mean, I saw about 25 different angles, and I still couldn't tell. And the fact that, they called it a fumble and the Chiefs scored a touchdown, and there was enough evidence to return, reverse that call. I mean, man, then that's probably the biggest play of the whole game. And like you said, there was a lot of plays. But, I mean, you're talking Chiefs score a touchdown, momentum swing big time, and it gets reversed over evidence that I couldn't tell which way it could go either way, and they called it a touchdown in the first place. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, and that would have, by rule, I think, been a muff punt back at the place where he touched it.
Yeah.
Is that the rule in the NFL, or is that just in college? Yeah, that's a rule in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think that's a rule in the NFL. I don't think you can return the muff punt.
Okay, yeah.
But either see that to me, Austin, was I thought that was the beauty of replay.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they got it. They looked at all different angles, and I felt like they got it right. Now, could you argue, was it 100% overturnable? You could overturn it? I guess you could argue, because you're still not convinced, so you must be able to.
And that's kind of where I stand at it. I mean, from the angles, and granted, those angles were beautiful, but I still couldn't wholeheartedly say, oh, yeah, that ball didn't touch his finger. Like, there was still a part of me that thought, well, did it or didn't it? Because, like, you couldn't get any closer to tell. It was just the fact that I didn't know 100%. Like, I did not know. And if that was the case and I didn't know 100%, then I feel like there's not enough evidence and the Chiefs should have the ball still.
All right, bottom line, do they change anything? Does anything come of the penalty? What will they do? They can only apologize right now. I understand. I mean, what's the NFL supposed to do? They can't. They're not replaying the game. The game can't. Michael want to protest, whatever. They're not changing this. But do they fix something? Does the rules competition do anything? Do we see anything? Do we see the BW3 button?
Well,
do we see something?
And here's the thing. Like, what are we asking? I'm like, why wouldn't they have that in the first place? Is it because the game flow? Because you always hear about game flow and things like that and, like, slowing the game down. This isn't baseball. It's not like it needs to be slowed down. I mean, baseball, the problem with baseball is it's almost 3 hours. I mean, granted, they've done wonders to try to make it shorter. But with football, it's so action-packed and high-paced. If you were to take an extra 30 seconds to get a play right, then take the extra 30 seconds. I mean, there's commercial breaks, there's everything, so it's not like it's a big deal. So if you need an extra 30 seconds to call to New York, to call to whoever, to make the right call and confirm it, then so be it. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult.
No, time should not be, especially in these games. So if you just did it in the postseason, make sure you get it right in the postseason.
So come up with a better excuse, but don't tell me it's the game flow and that they're worried about that.
By the way, it still should not take away. Sean Payton with a horribly called situation right there. Drew Brees with some terrible throws. They had a 13-0 lead at home with Drew Brees as the quarterback. You can't lose the football game. You can't lose it. It couldn't even come down to one play. You shouldn't lose the football game. When we come back, should the Chiefs have lost the game in overtime the way they did? Another rule that we have to investigate when we talk about the AFC Championship game. Next, from Mobile, Alabama, on ESPN 690.
News 104.5 WOKV is now exclusively on 104.5 FM. News 104.5 WOKV is where you'll find the latest breaking news, First Alert Storm Center coverage, and traffic alerts. 690 is where you'll find the home of the worldwide leader in sports, ESPN 690, featuring Golick and Wingo in the morning, Dan Levitard, and Stephen A. Smith. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
There's a place in North Jacksonville where babies are born in the region's most modern, comfortable labor and delivery suites, where life-saving emergency care is available around the clock, where top UF Health doctors offer the latest advances in medical care. That place? UF Health North. Conveniently located off I-95 on Max Leggett Parkway, UF Health North is quickly becoming the region's top choice for healthcare. Learn more at north.ufhealthjax.org.
There are those who play the blues. Then there's Chicago's electric blues legend, the one and only Buddy Guy.
And it goes down.
Saturday, March 23rd at the Florida Theater.
Well, you know it's 9 below zero.
Tickets are on sale now at the box office and at floridatheater.com. Don't miss Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee Buddy Guy.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Dave Benyon with Zero Res. The holidays were fantastic. With the 4 married kids and the grandkids coming over, we had a constant flow of friends, family, food, and fun. Now that my wife is taking down her 4 different Christmas trees, I see the house needs a lot of work. The carpets, area rugs, sectional sofa, kitchen tile, granite countertops, everything needs a Zero Res clean. Right now, Zero Res will clean 3 rooms of carpet for $129, and you get the 4th room free. That's right, the 4th room is on me. Zero Res spelled forward backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Is there a puddle in your living room when it rains? That's a roof problem. Do you have stains on your ceiling? Also a roof problem. If you've got roof problems, you need to visit jnmroofing.com. J&M Roofing is Master Elite certified and Shingle Master certified. They offer the best warranty in the business and have many 5-star Google reviews. Ask about our multiple finance options. Visit jnmroofing.com. JANDM roofing.com. We're the ones with the umbrella. We got you covered. jnmroofing.com.
Hey, it's Trey Wingo from Golic & Wingo. If you want to win every sports debate at work, listen to us every day on your way to work on ESPN 690 or at your desk on ESPN690.com.
This is Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Stay in your lane soundtrack.
I almost want to hire somebody to get a trumpet and just follow me with that trumpet line the whole time while I'm walking around. You play the trumpet, Brent?
No. I played the drums for a couple of minutes.
Okay, for a couple minutes. Did things go so well for you
terrible.
or what? Okay.
I played in middle school. I tried the drums, and when I couldn't do a drum roll, they basically said, "Okay, kid, this isn't going to work out."
Hey, I don't want to brag or anything, but you're sitting next to an all-state baritone saxophone player.
Really?
Brent. Oh, yeah.
Saxophone?
Yeah.
So were you
Shout
one
out
of
to
those
the
guys,
woodwinds out there.
Were you one of those guys that you played football and then at halftime went out and performed in the band?
Yeah, so that went to my sophomore year. Then my head coach put an end to that real quick. Yeah, but basically, when it was homecoming and stuff, we had to march on the field. I'd play in the first half, go take off my helmet, put my strap on, and we would get the saxophone out, and I'll be in the back marching with the saxophone.
See, these damn coaches, they make you pick one thing. See,
I know.
It's unbelievable this day and age.
You have to be versatile, for sure.
Poor Miss Jenny, my neighbor.
What
the Champagne Girls, part of the Champagne Girls.
Shout out to the Champagne Girls.
She's not happy. She's a big Saints fan. So she's not liking what I'm saying.
How am I losing? Wait,
I'm surprised she's even
my
listening.
Mind.
But I'm sorry.
Why? No, she's mad at me, and I don't understand what I did. Yeah.
Oh, I thought she was mad at me for saying that Peyton and Breeze still messed up.
Oh, maybe that's the case. I don't
Probably.
know. I just saw someone said that I got knocked out by Hardy about 30 times on the ESPN Plus app.
Yeah,
so
we will.
Yeah, I saw it.
Hey, okay, one last thought on I use tennis as an example.
Sure.
And we're going to talk MMA in a little bit because I want you to chime. Listen,
yeah.
people, you know it. You're an MMA guy. It was a big weekend, so we'll talk about that for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But I even brought this up to you. I was watching the MMA because I'm doing a little homework for the show. Now I got to know this stuff.
Do what you got to do. Yeah, I like your style.
But the last 2 fights with Hardy and Dillashaw both had an element of controversy in it.
Yes.
Right? It was an illegal kick by Hardy, an illegal knee, and then Dillashaw thought the fight ended too soon.
Should have kept going, exactly.
So again, there's an interest in that sport. Why? Because almost every fight has an element of controversy to it.
Yep. Well, and especially the controversy. I mean, there's not too much with the Hardy. It was a granted knee. Yeah, it was blatant.
But
there's not much you can
come
do.
out of that and say dirty.
No,
or not
exactly.
Dirty. You know what? You always have a debate coming out of it.
For sure. But the interesting thing with the Dillashaw fight, and I'll get into it later, but the ref that was in that cage for that fight, he doesn't ref that much. He wasn't really a UFC guy because they were fighting in New York, so they used like the New York Athletic Commission. Yeah. So they used him, and he was like really inexperienced, I guess. So obviously Dana White wasn't happy with that, and it didn't end too well. But once again, I'll get into that later.
Yeah, I'll ask you more about it and how you thought about it. But I was just saying, just overall, we were talking sport. I think the NFL thrives off controversy. Yeah. It helps their league. It helps their brand. It helps people talk about it all day today. Yep. Not just because of the Super Bowls on the horizon, but because of this. We're not even going to talk about the Rams-Patriots for 3 days because we're going to talk about this and what the NFL should do. Okay, another one of those examples. I thought there was less controversy in the Patriots-Chiefs game. Turned out to be a brilliant game. Playmaking all around in the second half. Great game plan at first by the New England Patriots. Belichick just showing his genius. I will say it again. I said it at the top of the show. This is the 4th best roster by far on championship weekend, and the Patriots are going back to the Super Bowl. Why? Because of Brady and Belichick, and throw in Gronk in it if you want, but it's still Brady and Belichick. But they get the ball. They've already run 85 plays in the game. They win the coin toss, and you just knew. You had the feeling whoever won the coin toss was about to go win that football game. And my wife texted me right away. She's like, why don't both teams get the ball?
Yeah.
Why isn't this like college? See, people see the college games so much more go to overtime. There's an abundance of games. We see the games go to OT a lot. The NFL doesn't go to overtime a ton. In fact, it did go to overtime a little bit this year, quite a bit. But we don't see it on the big stage go to overtime a lot. And so this is a rule that really doesn't come into play all that often, so is less talked about. But I think it has its pros and cons. A touchdown is hard to get, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, you would think, for a team to say, okay, we're just going to limit you to a field goal, and we get a crack at this thing.
Get the ball back.
So, again, the Chiefs are not void of blame here. They should be.
Don't let them score.
They should have stopped
Simple
them
as that.
at some point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does seem ridiculous that a team doesn't get a chance and another team wins, essentially because of a coin flip.
Yeah, I mean, but there's fairness in everything. Well, then what? Should we just play all the games at a neutral site? Like, I mean, where do you draw the line here? Like, the fact that I understand a coin flip can dictate it, but then if you're the Chiefs fans, then stop them on defense. And we're not talking about it. And if you're Patriots fans, well, then, yeah, cheer for them to score, which they obviously did. It's just, you got to know where to draw the line, and do you go to the college rules? I don't think you do, because then it kind of messes up the flow of a football game, honestly.
Well, and it might mess up player safety a little bit if you go for a long, long time, right?
I mean,
we're talking about a brutal game being played for 60 minutes.
And what are you going to do? Are you going to put them on the 20 where kickers are pretty consistent, or on the 30-yard line where kickers are really consistent, and just go back and forth for 7, 8 overtimes? Like, do you know how guys are going to be feeling after 7 or 8 overtimes?
Yeah.
So it's just...
What if I propose putting the ball at midfield, though? Each team gets a crack from midfield, not the 20-25, but from midfield. So, yeah, you've got to, essentially, if you don't get a first down, you can't even kick a field goal, but you're probably going for it on 4th down, which adds to the entertainment value. If you do get one first down, you're kicking a long field goal, which, by the way, is not easy. Let's not claim that 48-yard field goals are easy. You still have to drill them.
True.
And then if one team does hold you out of the end zone, now you've got a chance to go in just 50 yards and score. I mean, could there be an element of this that changes because of this game or as we move forward that at least people are willing to try? I'm not sure there is a right fix. I don't have as big a problem with this rule as a lot of people do, but I'm also not quite convinced it's not the best rule because, to be honest with you, as a viewer, as someone who wants to be entertained, I think the college rule is better.
As far as an entertainment aspect, Agreed. Yeah, I mean, it kind of, like I said, with the flow of the game, it kind of chops it up a little bit. But I mean, that's fine. That's all good. It's college, and I understand that. But getting back to the injury thing, and I know everyone thinks like NFL players are kind of catered and babied sometimes when it comes to injuries. I mean, there's not any more real two-a-days going on with full padded practices and things like that. But listen, man, I'm always going to side with the players. You can't tell me differently. I mean, play in an NFL game and see how your body feels after that. And now go ahead and multiply that by, I don't know, maybe an extra 20, 30, 40 plays, depending on how long the overtime games go. I think you're asking for trouble, especially when we already have Thursday night games. We have Monday night games. Like, people don't understand. Like, it's not you have 5 days of recovery. I mean, you have to get ready to game plan the next week, and you're working your butt off in practice, so you're going to be sore from that. It's hard to ask an NFL player to put his body on the line that much with everything already at stake like it is. But like I said, with the Thursday night games, with the Monday night games, all the traveling and whatnot, it's crazy, man.
I'll tell you what took me by surprise the most, and I guess because we don't see it a lot, and especially I don't know, maybe you just don't pay attention. If it's happening around the league and you're watching on a Sunday, you say, oh, okay, so-and-so won the coin flip. Well, we see the coin flip. What I found a little fascinating yesterday is that we know the road team picks the coin flip, right? Heads or tails at the start of a game. I did not know the road team then picked it again in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
I know this sounds a little goofy, and I've already suggested the BW3 button, but I do think if you're the home team, I think maybe that's what you should be able to call heads or tails in that overtime period.
In overtime?
Why is the visiting team calling it again? What did they do extra special? Or how about this? What if I suggest the team that tied it up last? Or something like that. I just don't understand why the visiting team automatically gets the coin flip.
No, it's not a bad idea, but at the same time, you let the visiting team come into your house and take it to overtime in the first place.
Okay.
Okay. So, hey, I mean, that's on you. So go ahead and give them the coin toss because you guys can't, hold your own at home, basically.
Yeah, I will say I raised my eyebrows at that, which is kind of a weird thing to raise your eyebrows at, but I was like, well, because you can lose the coin flip easily, too, even though you call it. Mm-hmm. But I just didn't – I guess I never realized that the away team called it even in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if you can systematically change that a little bit to increase that home field advantage, if you will. I don't know if it really does or not, but it was just one of the things I picked up on yesterday where I really hadn't picked up on something like that before.
And it also makes me wonder, I mean, and as crazy as stats are in the NFL, but I wonder if there's actually a guy on a team that, says, hey, should he go heads or tails, percentages? Like, throughout the season, heads has been called more, and it's worked, or tails has been called more.
You bet.
I honestly wonder,
and I think
what
teams
goes
have
into
their
that.
way, whether you believe tails never fails or not. But I will say the Patriots called heads yesterday.
Yeah.
I feel like tails is a pick most of the time, but heads is what won.
So now, here's the question I didn't notice. Did Brady call the coin flip?
It wasn't Brady.
Okay,
I think it might have been Matthew Slater. I think it was Matthew Slater.
Okay, because if that was the case, then the guy really can't lose. I mean, if he's calling the coin flips and everything, man, it's just like, I don't know.
We get to talk about it for 2 weeks. I mean, the genius of Brady. And again, I think it's worth repeating. People lost. But where the Patriots won that game is in the first half because they ran so many plays that by the end of that game and in overtime, they could score at will.
Mm-hmm.
Again, 94 plays in an NFL game. That is unheard of. That's like the new college game. That's Oregon, Oklahoma. That's what they want to do. The NFL game is like 60 plays, 65 plays.
Yeah.
And by the way, Kansas City ran 47. They had the ball for 20 minutes, New England for 43 minutes, 36 first downs to 18, and they still got the game to overtime, which was fascinating and shows you how good the Chiefs really are. But the Patriots got it done. Patriots and Rams in Super Bowl 53. We'll take a look at that. But we're going to talk about the Senior Bowl coming up next. What are we looking for this week in Mobile, Alabama? Next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and the table has been set. We now know the Patriots and the Rams will be facing off in Atlanta in a few weeks for the Super Bowl. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, they combined for 6 catches, 74 yards yesterday. They've hit a stride, but they say there's one more game to go.
We found a way to play our best the last 4 games, and we're going to need one more great game.
It's huge. That's the trust that we have just to go out there and always be on the same page when we need to be is huge.
The first time Belichick and Brady won the Super Bowl together, Rams head coach Sean McVay was just 16 years old. Rams gunslinger Jeff Goff was just 7. The Pats are 11-0 in the postseason since 2001 when a player rushes for more than 100 yards, so look for them to get Sony Michel going early. Meanwhile, the Rams have feasted off the play action. They've run it most out of all 32 teams, so look for the Rams to fake it a ton to Gurley and CJ in the backfield. Listen to our stream for more analysis, live 24/7 at ESPN690.com.
I'm Julie Harrell. Accidents don't just happen from 9 to 5. They can happen anytime, and usually at the worst time. Holidays, weekends, and even in the middle of the night. Harrell & Harrell will always be there for you, 24 hours a day. We'll be there to help make it better. Call us anytime, day or night, and we'll answer the phone. Call 251-1111. Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Offices, Jacksonville. Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Have Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra failed you? Men's Choice Medical Center can help today. Custom blended medications that are safe, effective, and affordable, even with diabetes, high blood pressure, and prostate issues. Men's Choice Medical Center. Regain your love life. Results guaranteed on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call 904-290-4211. That's 904-290-4211.
Introducing Salt Life Lager, the perfect beer for those who live the salt life. Salt Life Lager is also the perfect beer for those who live the outdoor life, the beach life, the fishing life, the festival life, the boat life, the yacht life, the tailgate life, the stay home and relax life. Even the sit around and talk about life. In fact, Salt Life Lager is the perfect beer for just about any life, starting with yours. Salt Life Lager, a salty state of mind. Available now at ABC Liquors, Publix, and Winn-Dixie locations. Visit saltlifebeer.com for more information. Must be at least 21 to drink. Please drink responsibly.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN690, a Cox Media Group station. Broadcasting live from the ESPN690 Anna Jar and Levine studios. Anna Jar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Christine Lisi right now. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell called out today by Saints receiver Michael Thomas with a "Hey Roger, pick up the phone" tweet related to the obvious missed pass interference call in the NFC title game loss to the Rams. Thomas also provided a link to Rule 17, Section 2, Article 3, which says in part, the commissioner's powers include the reversal of a game's result or rescheduling of a game due to an extraordinary event. While that's not likely to happen, the NFL should make calls like that in the future reviewable, believes ESPN's Louis Riddick.
The NFL league office has to have a way to correct something like that, because that's so egregious that right now, even if you had no dog in the fight, so to speak, here, you're furious over this. You're furious because this really alters a franchise's fortunes as far as going to a Super Bowl, and that's not right.
NBA Warriors plan for the same rotation in minutes for center DeMarcus Cousins tonight against the Lakers, his second game back from the Achilles injury. Cousins will likely play around 20 minutes, will start, then be inserted into the second unit to start the second quarter. Coverage at 10 Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Want an easy way to see if you could save money on car insurance? Geico gives you 3. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Go online to geico.com or stop by the Geico office nearest you. 3 ways you could save 15% or more.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anna Jar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Hey, welcome back on a busy Monday from Mobile, Alabama, as we hit the road with our new show, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 AM. 1 week old and already going on the road. Had a good trip up. Easy ride here on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Holiday. A little less traffic on the roadways. important day, though, as well. And that's an important day for the draft process, too, as everybody gathers in Mobile, Alabama. But, you couldn't ride. You were an Uber driver, but you couldn't take the keys.
Yeah, I was
you have to
disappointed.
pass like some kind of motor vehicle test before you're allowed to do that.
Well, I mean, what motor vehicle test am I passing here? Because you guys are doing like 95 miles per hour the whole way. So the fact that like you're worried about me not passing any tests is a little ridiculous, because I actually had to text my family and tell them that I love them, because I didn't know if we we're going to make it here in one piece.
Well,
so I'm not going to point fingers.
I warned you when we left the parking lot about Marcel Robinson.
No, he did.
I mean, we hardly ever get to a Jags game on Sundays.
Yeah.
Going from the station to TIAA Bank Field is like hazardous pay.
I'm not going to lie, though. The guy got us here in record time, because I made this, drive a couple times, and yeah, we made a record time for sure. So shout out to Marcel, got us here in one piece, and got us here pretty quickly.
We did. We had I think we left at 7:15 out of the after the gas station stop, and we pulled in here at 12:37.
Yeah,
and that was with one stop.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good time.
Absolutely. And I was sure to text my family, tell them, hey, I made it. I love you guys very much. I was scared, but we're okay. And pray for me on the ride back.
Not till Wednesday night after the show. So we'll have our show here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Practices begin here at the Senior Bowl tomorrow. Just to set the scene a little bit, we're inside the hotel here attached to the convention center, and there's a lot of football people around. We're on Radio Row, they have it, so we're probably making too much noise for a lot of the other folks as we're getting excited about being here. But we've seen some Jags representatives, Jags scouts. We ran into Jarris Pendleton, the former Jacksonville Jaguar, Ashland University alum, 7th-round pick, 2012. You played with him, and we ran into him. He's scouting now for the Indianapolis Colts.
It was fantastic. I mean, we obviously played a couple seasons together, so we kind of share that bond and everything. And then he was in Kansas City when I was there a little bit as well. So it was great to see him. I haven't talked to him in a long time. It's been about like 4 or 5 years. So the fact we got to see him, kind of catch up with him a little bit, maybe bring him on, talk to him a little bit, what he's been up to. One of the great stories in football, really. I mean, his whole thing where, he had to take some time off of school and kind of take care of his family and whatnot. Ended up getting drafted then, 7th-round pick, seventh round pick, if I'm not mistaken. When he got drafted, I think he was like 26, 25?
Yeah. He's 20. I think he was 25.
Okay, 25 years old.
I mean, 26, so you might be right.
Yeah, which is pretty rare, obviously, for a draft pick. But so for him to come on, as a 7th-round pick, where honestly, if you're a 7th-round pick, there's no guarantees you're going to make it. And that dude battled his butt off, made the team, obviously, and then had a pretty good career in with the Colts as well. So it was cool to catch up with him. Hopefully we can talk to him later as well. But, yeah, I'm sure we're going to see some more people that I know as well here. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we spent the ride up kind of talking a lot about what you do, life after football. And obviously you're doing this, but you're also fighting MMA. And then we were talking to Jarris a lot about that, too. And he was actually – it sounded like he was an instructor or a teacher at school and also coaching his kids' teams in the Indianapolis area, and then said, hey, I want to get back into it, and landed a spot scouting, and he's still on the introductory levels of that, but might be able to make a good long career out of scouting, just like you're doing on the radio side.
Without a doubt.
Just the start of it. But I wanted to ask, just give us a sense of a player then. As we were driving in here, you were like, hey, that's where you played, the game you played in. Obviously, if people didn't hear last week, that was the game Tim Tebow was in that year.
Exactly.
Which means it was not the Senior Bowl, but the Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow, as I called it. Correct. Yes. Exactly. It's you think you forget so much about it, because I mean this was 2010. So this was about 9 years.
A decade ago.
Yeah. So it's almost 10 years.
You didn't
now.
have the beard.
Didn't have the beard. Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. Is like I'm expecting to see a clean shaven kid from Murray State who was just trying to make a name for himself, was a little intimidated by everything, because this is really his first time being around, the nation's top talent and whatnot. And we got the Radio Row, you got, coaches trying to have meetings with you, and there's agents here. I mean, it's a lot to handle, especially coming from a smaller school. So, and especially in my position too, because when I got the call, they already had practice, because what ended up happening was a player by the name of Jerry Hughes, who came out of TCU. I think he got drafted by the Bills, maybe first round. Yeah. He ended up opting out the last second of the Senior Bowl. So I was scheduled to go to the Shrine game, which was 2 weeks after it. Well, I basically, I get the phone call Monday night saying, hey, where are you at? I'm like, well, I'm in Pensacola training for the combine and whatnot. They're like, can you get to Mobile, Alabama? I'm like, absolutely. And I got the invite from there. So that Tuesday, because I missed Monday. So Tuesday morning, I drove there, got situated, and went to practice right away.
Yeah, so that was a quick ride, actually. Pensacola to Mobile, not tough.
No, it was pretty convenient, actually. Yeah, and thankfully, obviously, my agent gave me a rent-a-car, so we were good there.
And you had a big game, though. I mean,
I had a big game, but it's funny though, because obviously, this whole experience is one thing, but coming in late, it's another thing because you're kind of behind the eight ball a little bit, right? So you're panicking, you don't know where to go and stuff. And I'll never forget my very first team meeting, because obviously we had team meetings before we went out to practice. My very first team meeting, obviously I got into town a little late, so I show up. It was a defensive team meeting, and you remember a guy by the name of Sean Witherspoon?
Yes.
So Sean Witherspoon went to Mizzou, first round pick, went to the Falcons. My freshman year, I was a wedge buster for Murray State, and our first game of my career was Mizzou. My very first collegiate play, I was running down on the field. Sean Witherspoon lines up in the wedge and absolutely decleats me. But believe me when I say my ankles were the first thing to hit the ground from doing a flip, and then my ankles might have touched the back of my head. It was straight up decleated, okay? And I remember, because if you know Witherspoon, the dude loves to talk. So he's in my face over me, flexing and yelling at me, and I'm just laughing. I'm like, oh, this is college football. So fast forward to the Senior Bowl, my very first defensive meeting. I'm walking in trying to be quiet because I'm obviously late to the meeting. I just got into town. So I'm walking in the meeting. Sean Witherspoon sees me in the middle of the meeting when, Coach Cunningham, our defensive coordinator for the Senior Bowl for the Lions, was going over the schemes. Witherspoon just stands up and goes, hey, you Austin Lane? I'm like, yeah, what's up, man? I didn't recognize Witherspoon. I had no idea. He goes, you the MF from Murray State that I knocked out first play of the game. I'm like, oh my God. And so the entire so the entire defensive meeting is just laughing, all the coaches are laughing and stuff. And what am I gonna say? I can't say anything, man. I'm like, yeah, you got me, dude. So that was kind of the my initiation to the Senior Bowl. But it was all great.
Cool the rest of that week?
Oh, it was great, man. It was I kind of talked about the story where I had to call Murray State to send express my equipment, my shoulder pads and my helmet. Well, they sent me the wrong helmet, so then I had to use the University of Southern Alabama's helmet. So I had a white helmet the whole time, didn't have my gear. It was kind of a nightmare. Everything that could go wrong pretty much went wrong as far as getting my equipment. But it was still an experience I'll never forget.
Okay, so you missed all this stuff that's going on. Like today, what we're seeing is a lot of the scouts and teams. Are actually have their own tables, and they'll interview players. And so that's part of the process. That happens at pro days. That happens at the combine.
So I missed the first day of this, but teams will actually be interviewing players, and there'll be agents here and everything. They'll be doing it the whole week. So what I missed for the first day, I actually made up for in the next couple of days. Okay. So it wasn't like it was for a lack of not being here. I mean, I talked to 4 or 5 teams. I did the radio interviews and things like that. So yeah, I was in that mix as well.
What are these guys? Obviously, they've seen tape on these guys. They've studied tape. There's plenty of tape, and there's more tape than ever now. Mm-hmm. But what are they asking them? What are they trying to find out from a guy that, plays defensive end? He's from Murray State. I mean, that. You see his tape. He's 6'3". Mm-hmm. He's 250 or 260. I mean, all this stuff. You see if he's got a quick first step. You'll find out more at practice. Well, what's the interview part then?
So from what I encountered, and I don't know if it's different these days, but back when I played my senior year, scouts would actually come watch me practice. So after practice, they would sit down with me and kind of go over the schemes and stuff. For a lot of players here, this is their first time of getting acquainted with the NFL. So basically what teams are going to do in these interviews and whatnot is kind of pick their brain a little bit about schemes, just how much knowledge do they know. Obviously the most important thing is film, and the film's never going to lie. But teams want to get a gauge because this is the first week of an NFL installment. They're going to be doing NFL drills, game planning, things like that, the other teams. So teams are going to pick the players' brains here and kind of see where they're at mentally, because this is a stressful environment. Make no mistake about it. You see all the Senior Bowl players here smiling and whatnot. They're happy to be here. Wait till day 3 when they're going through practice and it's just the installments and stuff. You're not going to see so many smiles anymore because it's a stressful environment, and that's by design.
All right. And by the way, they tell you, hopefully in those meetings, that if you don't get touched, you can run it in the end zone.
Yeah, they might have told me that. But you know what? That might have been on Monday when I wasn't there.
Austin Lane scored a touchdown in that 2010 Senior Bowl with the help of another Jaguar.
Shout out to D'Anthony.
We'll talk more tomorrow. We're going to talk more about that 2010 class. But coming up next, we're going to talk about this 2019 class.
Yeah.
What are we looking for, at least from a Jaguars perspective, here this week in Mobile, Alabama, and what will they find? That's next on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 live from Mobile, Alabama.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
When you get hurt, you feel like everything is put on hold. And
here's Hunter Scantling to talk about his experience with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
when it comes to injuries like that, you gotta make sure you get the best advice, the best surgeon. And luckily, I was recommended to go to Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, and the office was awesome, very nice. Everybody there made me feel at home. Everybody's been spot on.
Get your body moving again with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Find out more at se-ortho.com.
Hi, this is Dale Murray from Murray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Superstore in Stark, where the customer's always number one. Now that's going the distance. Shazam! Don't fumble your next purchase with those big city dealers and pay those big city prices. With our unbeatable customer service, selection, and 15-year, 150,000-mile warranty on every qualified vehicle means there's no need to shop anywhere else. It's simple. If Murray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram doesn't have it, the manufacturer doesn't build it. And we'll trade anything from old Nike gear to a case of beer. Be American, buy Murray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Check out our new inventory during the Start Something New event and compare our prices online at ShazamAuto.com. You'll see why everybody finds the end zone at Murray Superstores. Now that's a touchdown. Highway 301, half-mile north of Walmart. I'll be waiting for you. And remember, at any Murray Superstore, it's all about you. Shazam!
Parents, there's a better option for your child's development and education. Seacoast Christian Academy is a private school here in Jacksonville that offers challenging and engaging educational opportunities. Focused on a college preparatory curriculum that is backed by strong Christian values, they take on children as young as a year old through 12th grade. Right now, Seacoast Christian Academy is enrolling students who have the Step Up Scholarship. Step Up is an income-based scholarship program that most don't realize they qualify for. And Seacoast Christian Academy is accepting applications right now. For more information, call them or click SeacoastChristianAcademy.com.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back to Mobile, Alabama, host of the Senior Bowl. Once again, there was a time that Jacksonville tried to make a play at the Senior Bowl, and then it did not leave Mobile. So the tradition continues here in Alabama. Brent Martin along with Austin Lane on the road for Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. We did not mention yet that the coaching teams of this game are both from the state of California. The Oakland Raiders coaching staff led by John Gruden. In fact, we just saw GM John Lynch
We did. walk by. I was going to go shake his hand. We got to get back on the radio, man. Dude's a legend.
And we also saw Greg Olson, former Jaguars offensive coordinator, who's out with the Raiders now, too.
Yeah, he kind of gave me a fist bump. I think he wanted to talk to me a little bit, but I had to inform him I'm on the radio right now, so I really can't do that.
If you have to step away,
it's all good, man.
Step away.
Hey,
or just say, come on and talk.
That's a good point. I mean, we're here for a couple of days, so I'm sure we can wrangle some of these guys on here.
Yeah, and also Shanahan from the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, of course, and his staff, which actually has some former Jaguars on their staff, too, and Sala is the defensive coordinator, former linebackers coach of the Jaguars. So
I'm just worried I'm going to see Joe Cullen here from my Jacksonville Jaguar days playing defensive line, and he's going to be shouting at me to get my mic up or do something like that, because the dude's always intense. And I mean, it was funny, me and Jarris were talking about it actually, and I guess Joe hasn't changed at all, man, for better or worse. But I'm sure I'll see Joe eventually, Brendan. If you're with me, you're going to hear him yell at me. So
yeah, he will yell.
Spoiler alert for that.
I always remember we were talking about it coming up, too. You didn't even need to mic up Joe Cullen.
No,
you just had
to
have the camera within like 10 feet of him.
Exactly.
And you could hear every single word out of training camp practice. And by the way, from the Jags' perspective, we understand there will be some coaches here. We don't know exactly who, but there will be some of their coaching staff. And this is a game in the past, the coaching staff hasn't always come. I want to say, obviously, last year they didn't come because they had just wrapped up the AFC Championship game loss. The staff didn't come. Marone didn't come. And even that first year he was putting together his staff, So he didn't come to Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl that season, if I remember correctly. I don't think we'll see Doug Marrone here. We could, but I think we'll see some of the Jags coaches, and we've already seen some of the scouting staff. Dave Caldwell will be up here, Jags GM, as well here in Mobile, Alabama. So it's a hot season right now for the scouting, and let's do some scouting of our own. We've got our eyes on the quarterbacks. It's a good quarterback group if you know college names, right? Missouri's Drew Lock. Daniel Jones from Duke has been a hot name, of course. And, we'll get to see these guys. Trace McSorley from Penn State. Will Greer. So there's 8 quarterbacks, and someone suggested there might even be a 9th added. But we're going to get to see some of the QBs that and the names that people talk about. And then there's the intrigue of a guy from Buffalo, Tyree Jackson, who, if you really paid attention, he's a big dude, 6'7", 245 pounds. He's here as well.
And that's who I really have circled here. I'm really curious to see. Like you said, he's a big specimen, and for as big as he is, pretty athletic as well. The knock on him has been his decision-making. A lot of interceptions, a lot of sloppy plays. So it's interesting to see if he can kind of clean that up here at the Senior Bowl, and obviously make a name for himself, because we talk about the intangibles like we have before. He's a big dude, man. He's got a big arm.
Yeah,
so
raw talent. He's not a guy that's probably going to come in and play right away.
Oh, no,
just
not at all.
Big, skilled guy. And the athleticism is the number one trait. And also playing from a smaller school, which always will at least raise questions. But I always think that's where you find some of the better quarterbacks that pan out.
Exactly.
Sometimes at those smaller schools. Speaking of the big schools, Stidham from Auburn will be here. Jared Stidham. He will be here along with Will Greer, as we mentioned. And Gardner Minshew from Washington State, also one of the quarterbacks here. So we'll break down all the quarterback play. They hit the practice field tomorrow. Hopefully we get a chance during Media Day tomorrow to catch up with some of these QBs. And at least for what I think, we're talking about a couple of quarterbacks could go high, top 15, that the Jags, if they want to pick with number 7 or trade up, would be interesting in. And, of course, that's Dwayne Haskins out of Ohio State, and then the Kyler Murray type out of Oklahoma. Those two guys are not here because they're not upperclassmen. But I think what's interesting is a lot of people feel, and some of these early mock drafts seem to detect from some of the experts, that the Jaguars are going with a veteran QB. They're in win-now mode. They've got a defense that's ready to win, and they want a quick Band-Aid, and maybe the veteran QB can fix things. So that points to Nick Foles or Joe Flacco. What's interesting is if that takes place, would the Jags then, second round, third round, potentially if it dips down to the fourth round, get one of these quarterbacks to then develop? And you know how I feel about it. I think you can never pick enough quarterbacks. You got to be a little careful to sacrifice starting positions in that first, second, and third round.
Yes. Yeah, I think according to Mel Kiper, he's got us picking offensive tackle with the very first pick, or offensive guard with the first pick of the draft, or the first round of the draft.
And Daniel Jeremiah had the Jaguars picking a defensive tackle.
Yeah, exactly. And granted, this is, listen, they have the mock drafts, especially the couple first ones, just to try to make you talk a little bit and get people, agitated. I wouldn't put too much stake into that. But as far as the free agent quarterback, I think you're talking between Foles or Flacco. Teddy Bridgewater is another name you're probably going to be hearing around a lot, but you just don't know what you're going to get with Teddy right now. You're kind of taking a gamble. I think the biggest gamble is obviously Teddy. Foles is also kind of a gamble too, because he's been in that system in Philly. He has the coaches there. It makes you wonder what it's going to be like if he does come to Jacksonville. Honestly, I think Joe Flacco is the safest free agent signing that they could have. I honestly do. I think you know what you're going to get with Joe. He's not going to knock your socks off. He's going to play consistent, though. Not too many bad mistakes, not too many mental errors. And the fact that if we rely on a running game like I think we're going to rely on a running game, I think he's going to fit the system pretty well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Good take on Joe Flacco, because a lot of folks still have now connected dots to DeFilippo as the offensive coordinator to Foles, and also Foles is the hot name, and Foles just won a Super Bowl, and Foles went on another magical run, and Joe Flacco got benched, and Joe Flacco's old, and does Joe have anything left in the tank? So I think it's I don't think it's a bad option.
Yeah.
Here's how I grade him, and this is where this comes into play, the whole Senior Bowl and what you have. I feel like if they take Foles, they're going to feel like they have their quarterback for the next few years. He's a young guy. He's still very young enough to have for years, not to be like, okay, bridge us to the next franchise QB. I think you could then say, all right, we're going to draft one of these quarterbacks potentially, but we might wait till the 4th or 5th round to do it because we don't think we need it at this position for the next 2 years. But we also want to have a backup ready to go and a B plan, because we learned over the last couple of years not having a plan B wasn't a very successful route, especially in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
If they take Flacco, I kind of feel like my selection slides up a little bit from a young quarterback. I feel like it might be a 3rd-round guy or even a 2nd-round guy. And the reason I say that is because I think there's still doubt right now. Flacco at 34 years old, what's left in the tank? And how's he going to perform? Can he now stay healthy at this stage of his career? Those things. I feel like you have the confidence level moving forward, I think, changes a bit. Then you bring in a Bridgewater, say, or a McCown or somebody like that. If you're going with that, well, I think that is the pure bridge guy. I think that is, we don't know what we're getting here, so we are drafting a quarterback probably with that number 7 pick overall in the 1st round. So that's kind of how I gauge this thing in my mind. I think if you get the top upper echelon free agent veteran guy, well, then you draft a little lower with a young guy. You get the middle guy, you draft a little bit higher. You get one of the lower guys like McCown or Bridgewater, at least from a confidence level standpoint that I would have in him, then I'm going to get the young QB that's my future franchise quarterback. And maybe if he's not ready, a guy like Bridgewater or McCown could bridge that gap for a half a season or a season.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit there. I think if you do bring Foles in, obviously you're going to wait till later in the round to get a quarterback then, because it makes no sense, in my opinion, to take Foles and then also take a 1st-round quarterback. I understand you love getting the quarterbacks as much as you can, but it's a little bit of overkill and it sends the wrong message to Foles. Flacco's situation, I think he knows what he's kind of getting into. I think he understands that it's his spot to lose, but he can definitely still lose it. With that being said, if Flacco does come in, I wouldn't be surprised if the Jags still go with the 1st-round quarterback. And hopefully, ideally, sit him the whole year. If Flacco plays well, hopefully gets us, gets them to an AFC Championship or a Super Bowl, and then have that 1st-round pick sit behind him and just learn. The last thing you want to see is Flacco come in, do bad, and then all of a sudden you got to throw that 1st-round quarterback in the fire right away, and you lose his confidence. And obviously, then the other thing would be Teddy Bridgewater. You bring him in, obviously you're going to go 1st-round pick there too. So I think you're still looking at 1st-round quarterback if you bring Flacco or Bridgewater in, but obviously Foles, it's going to be deeper in the draft then.
This game feels to me, this Senior Bowl week, and correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe you have a different view on it. I'm not saying there are not 1st-round guys in the draft or even top 50 picks in the draft, but this game has always felt to me like, this week has always felt to me like this is where you find your 3rd, 4th, 5th-round guys.
Mm-hmm.
You did it. I mean, right? You were a 5th-round guy.
I was, yeah.
DeAnthony Smith was what, like a 6th-round guy?
DeAnthony Smith, I think he was a 3rd-round guy.
I'm sorry, he was a 3rd-round guy.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yep.
And so to see where it can float, obviously Tyson Alualu played in this game, and he was a top 10 pick.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, I'm not saying across the board. I think quarterbacks slide up, but it just feels like this is where you find some of those guys, that 3rd, middle round, that 3rd, 4th, 5th. Telvin Smith was one of those guys, I think, that played in here. The Jags, over the years at least, have found and identified some of those players in the middle rounds that played in this game.
And especially, like the smaller school guys or guys that are coming from universities with not a lot of talent. If you got guys from Alabama, the SEC, you kind of know what you're getting already because you've seen the film. They play against the top competition. But, when you got guys like from Georgia State, from Delaware, from UMass, those are the guys that teams are really going to be looking at because this is their first opportunity to kind of prove themselves against bigger competition. And then as far as from like a scouting standpoint, every team's looking for something different when it comes to a personality and a mindset. So this is that first opportunity too for GMs, for scouts to kind of sit down with players, kind of get their mindset, kind of see if they fit the mold of a Jacksonville Jaguar, if they fit the mold, of a Arizona Cardinal or whoever, name the team. But this is like really their first chance to try to get a player's mindset. They've seen him on film, and the film is the most important part. But now it's, starting to get a personality and getting a player type that fit that matches that film that teams are looking for.
All right, we'll talk more about the Senior Bowl, including some of the skill positions. I think it's very important. Jags find wide receiver, tight end. Where do they get some of this offensive outside of the quarterback position, no matter which way they go, whether it's young guy or veteran? We'll talk about that. But when we come back, Ballin' and Fallin' hits on a couple different topics, and we're going there when we come back from Mobile, Alabama. We're live at the Senior Bowl on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and the table has been set. We now know the Patriots and the Rams will be facing off in Atlanta in a few weeks for the Super Bowl. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, they combined for 6 catches, 74 yards yesterday. They've hit a stride, but they say there's one more game to go.
We found a way to play our best the last 4 games, and we're going to need one more great game.
It's huge. That's the trust that we have. Just to go out there and always be on the same page when we need to be is huge.
The first time Belichick and Brady won the Super Bowl together, Rams head coach Sean McVay was just 16 years old. Rams gunslinger Jeff Goff was just 7. The Pats are 11-0 in the postseason since 2001 when a player rushes for more than 100 yards, so look for them to get Sony Michel going early. Meanwhile, the Rams have feasted off the play action. They've run it most out of all 32 teams, so look for the Rams to fake it a ton to Gurley and CJ in the backfield. Listen to our stream for more analysis, live 24/7 at ESPN690.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Come meet Shaquem Griffin and hear his inspirational story during a community event presented by Brooks Rehabilitation. Saturday, February 9th on the Flex Field at Daly's Place. Shaquem Griffin of the Seattle Seahawks will be in Jacksonville. The former UCF football star made history last year when he became the first one-handed player to be drafted to the NFL. Doors open at 10 a.m. on February 9th. This community event features exhibits and demonstrations followed by a conversation with Shaquem Griffin. Register now at brookscelebrate.org.
All offers are with approved credit and not in conjunction. See dealer for complete details. Start something new sales event.
Looking for that perfect car, truck, or SUV to drive your new year in the right direction? We've got some great deals you can really warm up to at Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Bay Meadows. Drive a brand new Ram truck and save thousands. Gas or diesel. $1,500, $2,500, and $3,500. All priced at up to $12,000 off MSRP. $12,000. Get 0% for 60 months and save even more. Drive a new Jeep Renegade from just $16,988. Go home in a new Cherokee from just $19,988. Choose any car, truck, SUV, or minivan from our inventory and pay thousands below what you'd expect to pay. See them all at JAXCJD.com. Save up to $6,000 on Charger or Challenger and up to $9,000 off MSRP on a new Chrysler 300. Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Doing our best for every customer every day. I-295 and Bay Meadows.
Peace of mind. It's one of the most important things we can have and sometimes the most elusive. I'm Ellie Anajar from the Law Offices of Anajar and Levine. If you've been involved in a hit-and-run accident, call the Law Offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000.
Office in Jacksonville.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau, week 2 of Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690, and we are already on the road. This week, join us from the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, as the Jaguars try to build their roster and get ready for the draft.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30.
Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Congratulations to Calais Campbell, the Jaguars defensive end, heading back to the Pro Bowl in Orlando this week. He got the news today, J.J. Watt injured, so Campbell goes back. And you can argue he might have had a better season this year than last year, despite the sack production being down from 14.5 to 10.5. And, of course, he was in as a candidate for Player of the Year on the defensive side of the football a year ago. That had to come with a lot of the Jags' success. Calais Campbell was awesome again this year, so congratulations to him. And if you missed it earlier, the Jaguars and Houston Texans will play a game in London. I think the big surprise there is that there are not 2 games in London, a home and away game for the Jaguars. Instead, it will be just one. Word on the street is that one of the reasons there are not 2, the Oakland Raiders look like they might be playing back in California. At least that's the early word around the Raiders until they officially move to Vegas. So we'll see what happens with the rest of that. But some of the news stories of the day when it comes to the Jags. We are in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl, trying to figure out what the Jags do next. Big draft process underway, of course, with a lot of scouting here in Mobile and then NFL Combine and Pro Days, and it leads right up to the draft in Nashville in late April. We will be in Nashville at the first round of the NFL Draft as well. Patriots and Rams, Super Bowl 53. The other big headline story, really the headline story around the National Football League on this Monday. Brent Martin along with Austin Lane, Justin Coos back in the studios, back home, missing us. I'm sure. How many Reese's peanut butter cups have you had?
Sorry, I got distracted. I think we have our first male ponytail sighting of the whole Senior Bowl here. It was a staff member from the San Francisco 49ers rocking a shaved side of the head and then a ponytail look.
There you go.
Interesting. Did you see him?
I did not.
Okay, yeah, it was.
I wasn't on the look for that.
It was very. I wasn't either, but it just happened to come across my face. Anyways, getting back to the peanut butter cups, a lot of them. I think we're at either 11 or 12. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna save it because that's part of my balling and falling segment. So
it is. Well, here we go.
Okay, are we getting into it right now?
Let's do it.
So fallen first, I guess, or what?
You want to do fallen first?
Well, we're on the
for
peanut butter cups. Yeah,
love?
I wish that was the case. Fallen, Reese's, the company overall. So here's my problem. As you guys know, I established I've been eating a lot of Reese's peanut butter cups while I've been here, and I have been doing just that. The problem is that the selection is a little lacking. Brent, as you've seen, it's only the mini peanut butter cups right now, which are cool. But when I say that I've ate 10 of those, it doesn't make me feel good mentally because I was hoping I get the big ones. I could be like, I only ate like 4 or 5 of them, and that sounds like a lot better number than eating 10 of the small ones.
True.
So mentally right now, I'm a little shook up about it. Reese's, step your game up. I saw you guys have a commercial where there's actually giant peanut butter cups with like little Reese's pieces in the middle of them. Haven't seen that yet. I figured this would be like the big unveiling of those. Haven't come across them yet. I'll get back to you, though. Hopefully we can do some due diligence and find those.
All right. I've got Fallen, and I was rooting against him kind of, just on your behalf.
Okay.
But my Fallen is Greg Hardy the other night. Could he potentially fall right off the radar in UFC with what happened with the illegal kick? And it could have been a big moment. He was, one of the title matches on that card.
He was the co-main event.
Yeah. I mean, so for a guy who had very little experience, so from a UFC perspective, they wanted him to come out on top and be victorious. And
exactly
what they could do with that. But I'd say he's fallen now because I don't know where this takes him, and does it harm their reputation even more in the UFC world, or does this get overlooked in the UFC world because it can't happen?
Oh, no, I mean, it didn't do many favors at all. Obviously the guy with the checkered past and comes from a controversy, just added more controversy to that mix. So didn't do himself any favors there. He's definitely going to get another shot in the UFC. Dana White's come out and said that for sure. But that opponent that he fought, it was all set up for him to do well. It was on ESPN, the very first card, the ESPN Plus app, co-main event. Just didn't pull it out and kind of had a little, I guess you'd call it a mental lapse where he made a pretty easy mistake that he shouldn't have made, but hopefully he can rebound, and we'll see what happens from there.
All right. Overall, while we're on the topic, that night, the UFC night, It was a big night. We talked about it Friday. You do this for a living, the MMA, on the side.
Yeah.
I don't know which one's your side job.
No, for sure.
This or that.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a big night because they go to ESPN, and that's the debut. And I will say this, we were talking about the ESPN Plus app. I found it on the phone. I think it probably got overloaded a little bit on some platforms.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think the benefit of being on ESPN was really what happened late Saturday night into Sunday, and that is them constantly showing highlights from it. So it's not just a one-day event, kind of like it was with Fox.
Yeah.
Instead, it's something that does get promoted, probably will be more, and then shown again on a Sunday morning following on those sports centers. So I think really that's the key for UFC and having that relationship with ESPN. It'll be nonstop on all these different platforms. But overall, I think the headline event was pretty disappointing because it lasted like pretty much a length of a Mike Tyson fight.
Yeah, it was 32 seconds. TJ Dillashaw and Henry Cejudo. Dillashaw came in there the favorite. Cejudo was obviously the champion. Dillashaw came to get, the two division champ, term quoted to him, and unfortunately just didn't go his way. Like I said, last week, Henry Cejudo's hands are underrated because he's obviously from the Olympics and wrestling. So everyone thinks that he's a good wrestler, which obviously he is, but his hands have come a long way, more specifically his boxing. Dillashaw got clipped a little bit. He kind of got wobbled. Makes you wonder if the weight cut had something to do with it because he kind of looked like, Dillashaw's taken some shots before, especially from Cody Garbrandt, who's one of the hardest hitters at that weight class, when we're talking bantamweights. And for whatever reason, Henry Cejudo caught him right behind the ear. He kind of got wobbled a little bit. Dillashaw was still trying to go for the single leg, still trying to get him, but unfortunately, the ref called it a little soon. Now, the question that everyone's been asking, was it a bad call? Did the ref stop it too soon? In my opinion, I think it was an okay call because I didn't see Dillashaw getting out of that trouble.
Didn't look like it to me.
It didn't look like it.
I'm a novice in this, but didn't
no,
look
for
like
sure.
It.
I mean, of course, Dillashaw is going to argue that he had the single leg, but he actually had it, dropped to his back, and tried to grab it again. So I think Cejudo would have finished the fight regardless. But, I understand TJ Dillashaw. He's a fighter. I would have said the same thing. I mean, you want to go out in your shield. If you're going to get knocked out, you want to get knocked out legit. And unfortunately, that's not what happened. Obviously, getting back to the Greg Hardy-Alan Crowder fight, a DQ to a legal knee. It was funny looking online on Twitter and whatnot and seeing the people that thought it was a BS call for Hardy and figured like, oh, Crowder was just faking it and like, the fight should have been stopped.
There were really people that thought that.
Yeah, there was.
Wow.
I challenge you to take a knee to the face, number one, and I also challenge you to take a knee to the side of the temple and see how you respond to that.
I was surprised you didn't get knocked out. Cool.
Exactly. I mean, I've seen guys get knocked out with far less than that. So that rule, people were saying, well, he just had a mental lapse, and I understand that. It was, his third pro fight or fourth pro fight? But make no mistake about
fatigued,
it. Yeah, no, but I mean, from training at American Top Team, he's from a legit gym, and one of the first things you go over when you got a fight coming up is that exact situation. Now, you see that sometimes with guys where they'll have both knees up, and actually their hands will be grounded, and sometimes they make that mistake where they throw a knee even though the guy's hands are on the ground. The rule is if you have two hands on the ground, you're considered a down opponent. But that wasn't the case here. The guy, Crowder, had his knees on the ground. So that knee should have never even been thrown, should have never even been thought about. So obviously a huge mistake on Greg Hardy's part. And then finally, I'm just going to say Cowboy Cerrone, Donald Cerrone, taking out Alexander Hernandez. Hernandez came in, young kid, brass, talking so much smack about Cowboy, how he's old, he's washed up, he's going to send him to the home. Cowboy showed him what was up. He had that patented Cowboy style, throwing that low right kick and then setting him up with a head kick with the left, and ended up dropping him and then knocking him out with some ground and pound. So congratulations to Cowboy Cerrone. They keep throwing him killers, and he keeps responding. Hopefully we see Cowboy Cerrone and Conor McGregor coming up here soon. Would be a great fight.
I was going to say, is that next? Is that really what's the next big thing for UFC? Because that felt big the other night.
So the next big thing on my radar right now, it's going to be Cain Velasquez, who's been out for 4 or 5 years. He actually has a cage around his spine right now from a bunch of spinal injuries. He was the champ for a while. He beat Brock Lesnar and whatnot. Cain Velasquez is going to be fighting Francis Ngannou, who Ngannou is obviously known for knocking out Overeem. Stipe beat him in the championship, ended up taking him down. His cardio was put into question. Ngannou's starting to come back a little bit now, having a nice little run. So that's going to be kind of the next big fight, is the big boys in the heavyweight card.
Well, if you know MMA around here, nobody can talk it better than Austin Lane. If you don't know it, we're all learning about it.
You're learning.
It's kind of fun. Kind of fun to learn about it. It's becoming more mainstream, so get ready for it. It's really been around for quite a while, very popular. And you better enjoy those Reese's Peanut Butter Cups because it's almost time for fight camp for you.
Good point. I know, a few weeks away, so I'm definitely going to indulge while I can, man.
All right. So, hey, that was the Fallen.
Yep.
Now we go to the Ballin'. Coming up next, right after this, from Mobile, Alabama, and the Senior Bowl on ESPN 690.
Built with the biggest names in sports, all on one radio station. Golick and Wingo, Dan Le Batard, Stephen A. Smith, and Action Sports Jack's Brent Martineau every afternoon. Plus, Sports Center updates at the top and bottom of every hour. And major breaking news in sports when it happens. Make us your only button for sports. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. The all-new ESPN 690. Want to know the best way to start your 2019? Just push the start button and rev up your engine on a brand new 2019 Toyota from Arlington Toyota. If you want to start something new this year, now's the time, because Arlington Toyota is kicking off 2019 with big savings on their huge selection on over 1,000 new and pre-owned on the lot every day. Ready to join the club? It's the Arlington Toyota $5,000 Advantage Club, and it comes with your new or pre-owned purchase, packed with discounts on service and parts, trade-in cash, a discount card,
delivered, good at area restaurants and stores, and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Arlington Toyota is giving you all the buying confidence you need with iPreCheck, powered by TransUnion. With iPreCheck, you can check your credit without affecting your score and get instant payment results custom to you. No social security number or birthday required. So if you're ready to kick off 2019, just push the start button on a brand new Toyota from Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Introducing Salt Life Lager, the perfect beer for those who live the salt life. Salt Life Lager is also the perfect beer for those who live the outdoor life, the beach life, the fishing life, the festival life, the boat life, the yacht life, the tailgate life, the stay home and relax life, even the sit around and talk about life. In fact, Salt Life Lager is the perfect beer for just about any life, starting with yours. Salt Life Lager, a salty state of mind. Available now at ABC Liquors, Publix, and Winn-Dixie locations. Visit saltlifebeer.com for more information. Must be at least 21 to drink. Please drink responsibly.
Mom, I've really enjoyed our time together, but I need my own space. I need more room to stretch, to grow. I need to see the world. I mean, I appreciate how nice it is here, but I'm thinking somewhere new, modern, spacious, with a nice view and with great service. A place where all the cool kids go. I'm thinking UF Health North. Yeah, UF Health North.
Learn more at north.ufhealthjacks.org/babies.
Dave Benyon with Zurez. We love fine Oriental rugs. Ivan just completed his comprehensive training and was certified a master rug cleaner, one of only 140 in the entire country. Oriental rugs are like a fine work of art, and they should not be cleaned the same way as wall-to-wall carpet. Ivan is hands-on with every step of the cleaning process for each individual rug that comes into his shop. Right now, have Zurez wash one rug, and we will wash a second rug for half price. Zurez spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Sports Center updates at the top and bottom of every hour. And the latest breaking news and sports around the clock. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Mobile, Alabama, and the Senior Bowl, which really gets underway tomorrow with the practices, and expecting some rain in the next couple of days, but practices will go on here in Mobile. Plenty of scouts. Jaguars will have representatives, both coaching and scouting department, and the lookout for maybe QBs, maybe some skill position guys. We'll talk more about those skill position players and who's here and who they might be looking into in just a little bit. Obviously, a lot of Senior Bowl coverage throughout the next couple of days. We'll also take you to the Pro Bowl on Wednesday. We'll have a crew there as Calais Campbell and Jalen Ramsey will represent the Jaguars in Orlando at the 2019 Pro Bowl. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane. I want to welcome in Action Sports Jack's Marcel Robinson in just a moment. But before we do that, we got to get the ball in.
Let's get that ball in.
We did the fallen. It was Reese's for you.
Yeah.
And Greg Hardy for me.
Yep.
What's ballin' for you?
Ballin'. Well, you know, Kuz, we call Mr. Audible Chocolate.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and call Melissa Etheridge Mrs. Audible Chocolate for that national anthem performance that we saw with the Chiefs. Okay, I'm going to set it up quick. Did you watch the Jimmy Buffett performance?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so Jimmy Buffett.
Like the mic drop or no?
No, it was a C+ and you dropped the mic on it. Like, imagine getting a C+ on an exam and then going to the teacher and being like, booyah. Like, it made zero sense whatsoever. I don't know if Jimmy Buffett had 1-2 margaritas, but, man, you weren't crushing enough to drop the mic. A little aggressive for my taste. But Melissa Etheridge, coming back to you now. 20-degree temperatures, wind blowing, Arrowhead. It's got great acoustics and everything like that, but she put on a performance in rough conditions, in harsh conditions. Jimmy Buffett in a dome, drinking margaritas, singing the national anthem. Melissa Etheridge out there where the real people are, freezing her butt off. Melissa Etheridge, I'll come to your window anytime because you dominated that performance. Props to you. They're the real MVP of that game. Wes Atheridge.
Well done on balling. Yeah. Very well done. Good references, and references that I actually understood.
Come to you.
So
exactly.
I don't know if I'm more impressed with you or me.
I mean, I think it's just me. You and my mom listening might have been like, oh, I get it. Come to your window. Nice sauce. Everybody else is like, I don't know what this kid's talking about.
Good. But you're right. It's probably hard to sing in the cold.
I can't imagine. And you could tell she's having some trouble. You know, she put her hands around her ears and whatnot and was trying to cover her mouth a little bit. But for those conditions, man, she's
a big Chiefs fan, too. Like, I've seen it a lot like on social media. She's a huge Chiefs fan. All right, my ballin'. And we're going to bring in Action Sports Jack's Marcel Robinson here, too, because I want to get his thoughts on it. It's Tony Romo, man. I mean, Tony Romo right now, outside of the unbelievable games that we had yesterday, outside of some of the controversy and the fact that we know the Rams and the Patriots go to the Super Bowl and Tom Brady is Tom Brady, I mean, Tony Romo was like a top 5 player on an incredible day of football on Sunday. I mean, he is getting so much love, and I think deservedly so. Listen, there are always going to be people. There are people listening right now and say, I don't like Tony Romo. He drives me nuts. He's too energetic. He says the same thing all the time. He must have said something about the physicality 100 times. I don't care. Tony Romo is right now the best color analyst in television, in football. And I tell you what, in a short time, meaning 2 years, I think he is already inching onto the Mount Rushmore of color analysts in TV. As I think there's 2 ways to look at this. You know, John Madden, who I almost forgot about last night, I was reminded, but John Madden was pure entertainment, right? I never felt like I was like learning the game of football, at least at the age I was at, from John Madden. I think Romo brings an entertainment value, a giddiness of a kid who's playing backyard football. But then there's this educational coaching 101, football 101 that I don't see. You might see it, Austin, because you're a former player. Marcel Robinson might see it because he is a superstar in flag football.
So I've heard. We talked about that on the drive here.
Of course, he brings it up everywhere we
go. Yeah.
But I don't see. When he described those 2 Gronk plays, after Gronk had, jumped, you could have put between his feet and the turf a piece of paper only on the one play that he missed. Mm-hmm. And then he said the very next play, I would split Gronk out and I'd go deep with him and take advantage of the one-on-one. Then a little bit later on 3rd and 10, he said, watch the safety come down. If he comes down, Brady's going to go to Gronk here on the left side. And bam, it happened. And I'm not saying he gets it right every time, but the fact that he could tell us that, I could see it in a live action, not on a replay, I just thought was some of the best television I have seen in a long time in that role. And I will tell you one other thing. He sees it from a QB's perspective. I think you also have to give the nod to a Tom Brady who also saw the same thing from field level.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying that today. Well, why didn't the Chiefs, if Tony Romo knows it so well, why don't the Chiefs know it?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a totally different thing watching it from above than it is when you are absolutely on the field. So, all right, that's my ballin'. Agree or not? You like Tony Romo, Marcel Robinson?
Oh, I love him. I've loved him from the jump. I know when he first started on this journey, maybe the first few games, there were a lot of people who were really down on him because it was different, something we'd never seen before or heard before, I guess. A lot of people commented that they didn't like the fact that he was calling out plays or predicting things that eventually did happen. But I think now, personally, I think I agree with you. He's probably the best in TV right now. He's been doing it all year long, predicting plays. I can't tell you how many tweets I've thrown out about him snitching on offenses on TV. But last night was pretty incredible. One thing I like about him, other than being able to predict the plays, is like you said, the energy he brings is just unparalleled. Like you could see when Tom Brady got the ball with roughly about a minute left and they were coming out, you could hear the excitement and the enthusiasm in his voice.
You know what's also interesting about Romo's role is that it comes on CBS.
Mm-hmm.
See, CBS, for the longest time, is that traditional network with Jim Nance and Hello Friends from the Masters. Mm-hmm. And, it just that voice that was smooth, it was easy listening, and it wasn't going to kind of invade your viewing of the football game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's not CBS's style. Like, Romo, to me, actually fits maybe more of a Fox style of broadcast.
Yeah.
Yet, this has been an awesome transition, I think, for CBS, the network, to rejuvenate Jim Nantz, rejuvenate their lead broadcast, and maybe skew a little bit younger as they start flipping their audience on the traditional CBS network. So, and I don't know how much value that has, but it's an interesting one because, again, CBS is so traditional in the way they broadcast sporting events, whether it's golf, football, anything else. And I think this kind of this adds a freshness to it that is good in a good way.
See, to me, Romo's gift is the fact that, yes, he can relay all the information and he can call plays out of thin air, but it's the way that he does it where it's almost like he's sitting on the couch with you, watching the game with you as you're watching it. You know, as opposed to, like the Aikman or Joe Buck, where you understand that they're commentators and they're calling the game, but Romo's got that special gift where it's almost like you're in a bar, you're having a beer with a guy who played football before, and he knows what he's talking about, and you're just enjoying the game. And I think he adds like that humor side to it as well, and it's lighthearted and it's not too serious. You know, he loves to have fun with it, and I think, and granted, like being from the quarterback position, you probably have more knowledge than anybody when it comes to football. So the knowledge that he has and then the way that he can just have fun with it, not take himself too seriously, it's definitely something fresh and new. And it's like Marcel said, right away people were kind of drawn off it, but now I think everyone's starting to come around. I mean, I'm a fan for sure, and I hope he does every single game because it's fun to watch.
It's a good way to put it. You just said it really nice because it is kind of like the guy that taps you he's like hitting you on the arm or taps you like, check this out, this is what's going to happen. Yeah. And like he's got the play call before. Just as a former football guy, from a defensive perspective, you're a defensive guy, or maybe from offensive. When you watch a football game, I got to believe you watch it different than I do.
I do.
And so do you see stuff? Do you kind of pre-snap look for stuff, or do you just try to enjoy the game and watch it play what happens?
I wish that was the case, but unfortunately, I can't do that. We kind of talked about it on the ride here, Brent, where the first thing I was looking at was to see what they're going to do with Tyreek Hill the whole time for the Patriots. And they actually did the exact same thing they did with him in Week 6, where they actually double-teamed him. They put Gilmore and Watkins. So, like, the whole time I'm thinking about schemes. I'm not really enjoying the game. Of course, Melissa Etheridge is on my mind the whole time. But besides that, I was thinking about schemes. I was watching the defensive ends, the defensive tackles. So it is hard to enjoy the game sometimes just because I play defense. So that's what I'm looking at. But like again, Tony Romo makes it interesting and it makes it fun. So I listen to him. And then I relax a little bit, and I kind of see what he's saying as well.
All right, Marcel, thoughts on the games? How good were those games? And how good of a Super Bowl you think we'll get with Rams?
I thought the games were great. I mean, we pretty much got exactly what they wanted, unless you are not a Patriots fan.
Which is like 95% of the world now.
But I think the Super Bowl will be good. I think it kind of sets up in a very similar fashion as the AFC Championship. You have the older Tom Brady, Bill Belichick style, and you've got kind of the young gunning Rams coming up, and it'll be interesting to see how Dante Fowler plays. Again, you mentioned it earlier with him kind of being Brady's kryptonite. Both games versus Brady, I'd be interested to see what Bill Belichick has for him because he'll come up with something.
By the way, I have no ill will on the whole Fowler front. Good for him.
Yeah,
I mean, it's worked out for him.
Yeah,
I think there was enough going on with Dante Fowler that the Jags knew they weren't going to invest. They got a 3rd and 5th back, and I don't think the Jags lost this whole deal because they got rid of Dante Fowler and now he's playing for a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I think that's a silly way to look at this.
Yeah. Yep.
They're getting the 3rd and 5th round, but let's see what they get in that 3rd and 5th round.
Then we'll talk.
And then we can see how it shapes up.
Yep.
Quick thought: do you think the penalty should be reviewed?
Will
it be eventually?
I think it should be something as egregious as that. I mean, that's the second worst pass interference I've seen in any game. First being Miami versus Ohio State in the BCS championship. But
and by the way, the Miami Ohio State was way closer than that.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
he obviously changed the game too.
Oh yeah, 100%. Got to be reviewable.
All right, we'll be talking to Marcel Robinson all week. He'll be getting video practices, and we'll be doing some interviews for the TV side of things as well here in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl, and we are keeping track who's eating more Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Oh, I'm winning that all day.
When we come back, more on Rams Patriots, Super Bowl 53 plus Stay in Your Lane on the way on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and the table has been set. We now know the Patriots and the Rams will be facing off in Atlanta in a few weeks for the Super Bowl. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, they combined for 6 catches, 74 yards yesterday. They've hit a stride, but they say there's one more game to go.
We found a way play our best the last 4 games, and we're going to need one more great game.
It's huge. That's the trust that we have. Just to go out there and always be on the same page when we need to be is huge.
The first time Belichick and Brady won the Super Bowl together, Rams head coach Sean McVay was just 16 years old. Rams gunslinger Jeff Goff was just 7. The Pats are 11-0 in the postseason since 2001 when a player rushes for more than 100 yards, so look for them to get Sony Michel going early. Meanwhile, the Rams have feasted off the play action. They've run it most out of all 32 teams, so look for the Rams to fake it a ton to Gurley and CJ in the backfield. Listen to our stream for more analysis, live 24/7 at ESPN690.com.
What's up? It's Justin, producer of Action Sports Jax here on ESPN 690, and we've got your chance to win some tickets to March Madness at the Jacksonville Memorial Arena. All you need to do is enter this secret word on our sister station, WOKV.com, under the contest tab. The secret word is scrimmage. The word is scrimmage.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777 or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777 or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Hey, it's Bill with Bill Fenwick Plumbing. If you've ever had a leak under your concrete slab, then you know how much it can increase your water bill or even your electric or gas bill if it's on the hot side of your plumbing system. Slab leaks can be costly, but luckily they are no match for our Golden Plunger service. If you suspect that you have a broken water pipe under the slab, have our team of professionals come out, locate the leak, and help you get your plumbing back on track. If you'd like to schedule a service call or would like some tips to determine whether or not you have a leak, visit BillFenwickPlumbing.com.
I'm Holt Harrell. PIP stands for Personal Injury Protection Benefits. You hear it sometimes called no-fault benefits. When you've been involved in an accident, you have 14 days to seek medical treatment, and you have up to $10,000 of medical coverage on your insurance policy. That's the PIP benefits. If you don't get medical treatment within the 14 days after the accident, you lose all those benefits that you have. Call us or visit our website, Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
There are those who play the blues. Then there's Chicago's electric blues legend, the one and only Buddy Guy.
And it goes down
Saturday, March 23rd at the Florida Theater.
Well, you know it's 9 below zero.
Tickets are on sale now at the box office and at floridatheater.com. Don't miss Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee Buddy Guy.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening in the aftermath of the now infamous no call that affected the NFC Championship game. The NFL will discuss this offseason whether or not to make pass interference penalties reviewable. In the past, there hasn't been much support for the idea of making judgment calls reviewable, but the fallout from the Rams-Saints game might change the minds of those on the competition committee, says ESPN's Adam Schefter.
We're not increasing the number of challenges that a coach gets per game. You're just saying that if you choose to challenge a pass interference call, right, that you're allowed to do that. So if that were the rule, Sean Payton could have challenged at that time and he would have won and it would have been pass interference. So that's one thing that you could do.
Adam Schefter on Golick and Winko. Baseball. After several days, the Yankees finalized a deal to trade right-hander Sonny Gray to the Reds. With the trade agreed to, Gray reached a 3-year, $30 million extension with Cincinnati. New York gets a prospect and a high draft pick in return. NBA, Lakers forward LeBron James likely out a 14th consecutive game tonight against the Warriors because of that injured groin. Pre-game starts at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Right now, at participating Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care Centers, you'll get a $20 prepaid Visa gift card by mail when you buy a Napa Legend Premium Battery. That's Napa know-how. Offer ends February 28, 2019.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Hey, welcome back here on a Monday afternoon and early evening from Mobile, Alabama. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane, Marcel Robinson along as well. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 hits the road for the first time in this new endeavor. Thanks again for everyone checking it out last week. Ran into a lot of people this weekend. I got a chance to sample it and listen, and hopefully you'll come back and be around for a long, long time. We appreciate you checking it out. And as we continue to grow the show, and next couple of weeks we'll be on the road from Mobile, Alabama for the first few days of this week. They'll be back in the studio Thursday, Friday, and then next week we will be live in Atlanta for Super Bowl 53. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, let's reset this thing. Obviously, everybody talking about the playoff games from yesterday. Phenomenal football games, phenomenal theater. This is what it's all about. You know, we had talked earlier, and we said some sports, whether it's WWE, where you know the outcome, the script, the outcome, the entertainment value of that. And then there's other sports where sometimes, and the NBA feels like this at times, the NFL feels like this sometimes, where it's like it begs the question, and people will say it on social media, like, sometimes I feel like this stuff is fixed, you know, and it's not that. It's not. It's just amazing how close sports can be at times.
Yeah.
And those two games, a play here, a play there, a bad call here, a bad call there, there were tons of them, not just 1, 2, or 3. I know the one egregious play in the Saints game, but there were so many close plays in that game. I mean, you almost couldn't script the drama and theater that we experienced basically for 6 hours on Sunday.
And that's why we love it. You know, it's almost like you have to endure the heartbreak to appreciate, you know, the good times, basically. And granted, the Patriots have had a lot of good times this past decade.
Amazing.
The Chiefs, not so much. You know, it's just as a fan of the sport, you know, and obviously playing it and everything like that, it is like that human error. I mean, we can go back to the Chiefs game. D Ford, if he didn't jump off sides, or if he wasn't lined up in the neutral zone, it was an interception. The game would have been over. So it's always that human error. It's the fact that anything can happen. And now I'm starting to quote, you know, that John Malkovich trailer from last year when the Jaguars played the Steelers. Anything can happen on that field, and that's the truth, you know. And it just getting back to Brady again, and it sucks how much I got to talk about him because I played against him. I hated playing against him, but you got to give respect to the New England Patriots and Tom Brady for what they've done for so long, because you saw how fast it can turn out bad. And the fact that they've been so consistent in winning, it's just it's unreal.
What happened on D4? How do you line up in the neutral zone? I mean, how? Again, I am not one of these guys that says, how do you do that? They play a game that I couldn't play.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't play, most likely. And I couldn't at that level, even if I wanted to. But I will say, where does that come into play? Like, how do you line up in the neutral zone? I mean, you can't, right?
Yeah, you're definitely not going to make excuses up for him. Maybe fatigue was part of it, because let's be honest, Brendan, you said how many offensive snaps that the Patriots had. Well, that's the guys playing on defense for the Kansas City Chiefs. Got to play that many reps.
Snaps,
yeah, that's a rough game, especially I think D4 didn't really come out at all. So, you know, he might have been a little winded, might have been a little taxed and everything like that. That could have played a factor into it, but yeah, at the end of the day, and once again, you don't want to say it comes down to one play, because we talked about the Edelman punt return where he fumbled it or he didn't fumble it. We didn't know. And then, you know, the D4 in lining up in the neutral zone. I mean, there's a few plays here and there, but you can't pinpoint one play. But let's be honest. If D Ford's on sides, the game's over. Chiefs Super Bowl.
Yeah, it is as simple as that, but with that play. But now, that being said, Tom Brady had, I would say, I saw 5 or 6 bad balls. Like, the interception throw was egregious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that guy's built up so much equity that it doesn't matter what he does. But that was about as egregious as an interception. down in that end zone when you're going up 14-0 or 10-0. Yet it's his ability to overcome some of those bad throws, some of the bad. He threw behind receivers plenty of times, threw off the hands of a couple of guys that weren't all the receivers' faults. But his ability to come up in the clutch and in that moment, it's what separates.
And, as a defensive lineman, playing against him a few times, we always talked about you can't get frustrated because he's so good at getting the ball out early. I mean, if you watched the Chiefs 2 weeks ago against the Colts, D4, Justin Houston, Alan Bailey, they're getting after the quarterback. And here you just saw that the case of Brady just gets that ball out so fast. And as a defensive end, there's nothing more frustrating when you think you have a good pass rush and it gets wasted because he gets the ball out in, a half a second or 2 seconds, it seems like sometimes. So that's definitely frustrating as a defensive lineman from a standpoint where you're doing everything in your power to try to get the job done. You can't because Brady's literally taking you out of the game by getting the ball out so fast.
Yeah, the Kansas City defense is not good, but they're good at getting pressure. I think they might have led the league in sacks, in fact. Yeah. And then you go back to last week, and you've got Bosa and Ingram rushing the quarterback. You know how many sacks Tom Brady had in the last 2 weeks? Zippo. 0. Goose egg. To put an exclamation point on your point, the guy had 0 sacks, and we know he can't move. So 0 sacks. He did make one heck of a play in the pocket the one time, and it was a great catch by James White off to the left side. If you remember, it was earlier in the game, but he did a nice job to escape pressure, get that ball out, and then James White made a heck of a catch. Yeah, that's the thing that I think is underplayed sometimes. Brady is so good. But for this team and franchise to be as good as it's been, the plays these other guys make. I mean, how about the catch by Hogan? Yeah. How about the catch by White there? Yeah. How about some of the catches by Edelman? Mm-hmm. How about the catch by Gronkowski, who doesn't seem like he can even get down the field 30 yards anymore, makes that play? I mean, these guys make plays for him. And I think that's probably the greatness of a player. It's like if you're playing with LeBron, you don't want to mess up for him, because he's doing everything, and he's doing so much to put you in a position that you will just max effort, max focus to get a play done for him. I mean, that catch by Hogan, by the way, was off the charts, incredible, and again, one of those things we hardly talk about this week.
Well, and getting back to your point, wanting to play for him, and trying to bring out the best in everybody. I mean, Gronk said it himself. There were rumors and rumblings that Gronk was going to go to the Lions and get traded, and Gronk said if that was the case, he was going to retire because the only guy he's going to is Tom Brady. So that should kind of tell you everything you need to know right there about it.
You played against him.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you in awe of him? Are you? Is it one of those? You played 5 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
Will you? Is that the first story sitting on the porch when that beard's down to like your hip and it's gray and you're like 70?
Did you mean in 3 weeks from now my beard's down to my ankles?
I mean, is the first story you say is, hey, little Johnny?
Yeah.
Grandpa played against Tom Brady.
It's funny because it's kind of like you mentioned, he's got the arm, he's got all the throws and everything, but when you're scouting him, you're watching him, I don't want to say you underestimate him because you can't say that, but for instance, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was in I played against him a couple times, and Peyton Manning was the guy I was more in awe of at the time than Tom Brady, because Peyton Manning was making all the calls, he was making the checkdowns, he's making the audibles. I mean, every single play he kind of had his stamp on it. Whereas Tom Brady will make the checkdowns too, and he'll make the calls, but it's just, it's I don't know, it's hard to put it in words, I guess I would say, but to me, Peyton Manning was the guy I had to get ready for it. I was more starstruck of. Where Tom Brady, I mean, he's been doing it forever, and I guess I always take him lightly because I took him lightly picking against him these past 2 weeks too. It's just the guy that you always underestimate. You see the athleticism, he doesn't have it, but for whatever reason, man, he always gets the job done.
It just shows you how mental of a game it is, though.
It is.
Again, each at the line of scrimmage, he gets them in the right plays. They were a power running team yesterday. Now, I know he threw for 348 at the end of the day.
Sony Michel.
But for 3 quarters, they were They were what the Jags want to be. Well, I mean, that's what they were. They were playing defense and running the football for 3 quarters.
And let's be honest, they did the exact same thing 2 weeks ago. I mean, they came out and ran the ball first. I think Sony Michel had 11-yard gain right off the bat, and that opened up the passing game, which makes this Rams, Patriots game even more intriguing for the Super Bowl, and the fact that the Saints had 47 yards rushing, I think, against the Rams.
Yeah.
And that's a team with Alvin Kamara and Ingram that were running the ball down teams' throats. So I'm curious to see in the Super Bowl if the Rams can get up to the challenge again and stop that running game and make the Patriots one-dimensional, because don't get me wrong, the Patriots can pass the ball. Edelman, Gronk, I guess, has come around a little bit. They got Hogan, but they still want to run the ball. And if that Rams defensive line can play what they've been playing the past 2 weeks, it might be an interesting game.
And again, they ran 94 plays compared to the Chiefs' 47, 43 minutes compared to time of possession of 20 minutes for the Chiefs. That will be the same plan against the Rams. Mm-hmm. They want to keep Goff, McVay's offense off the field. That will be the same exact plan. We'll digest that as we go along the next couple of weeks. We have a lot of time to be able to do it. Do want to touch on Sean McVay. Now you've got McVay at 33 years old, has a chance to beat Bill Belichick in a Super Bowl. What this game could do for Sean McVay, not as if life isn't already good enough for Sean McVay. And the hero of Sunday that nobody's talking about but should. Plus more from the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Are you her agent?
I might be.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
At Farrah & Farrah, our philosophy can be boiled down to one word: respect. Respect for every client regardless of who they are or the size of their case. Respect for innocent victims and respect for the law. So when the insurance company thinks they can bully you instead of paying a claim, we respectfully disagree. If you're hurt, call Farrah & Farrah. We'll help you get the respect you deserve. Call 800-500-5555. Jacksonville.
Attention men. Are you suffering from ED or PE? Have Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra failed you? Men's Choice Medical Center can help today. Custom blended medications that are safe, effective, and affordable, even with diabetes, high blood pressure, and prostate issues. Men's Choice Medical Center. Regain your love life. Results guaranteed on your first visit, or you pay nothing. Call 904-290-4211. That's 904-290-4211.
Hi, this is Dale Murray from Murray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Superstore in Stark, where the customer's always number one. Now that's going the distance. Shazam! Don't fumble your next purchase with those big city dealers and pay those big city prices. With our unbeatable customer service, selection, and 15-year, 150,000-mile warranty on every qualified vehicle means there's no need to shop anywhere else. It's simple. If Murray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram doesn't have it, the manufacturer doesn't build it. And we'll trade anything from old Nike gear to a case of beer. Be American, buy Murray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Check out our new inventory during the Start Something New event and compare our prices online at ShazamAuto.com. You'll see why everybody finds the end zone at Murray Superstores. Now that's a touchdown. Highway 301, half-mile north of Walmart. I'll be waiting for you. And remember, at any Murray Superstore, it's all about you. Shazam!
Hey, boss, check this out. 'Twas the week after Christmas, a scene to behold. At the do-it-yourself alarm company, what was about to unfold? So many alarms being returned in frustration by unhappy customers all across the nation. The power dome was ugly, the cords are on the floor, and no local monitoring was a problem for sure. But smart folks are out there and they shop around for the best security company that can be found. The name is Safe Touch. Security is their game. Safe Touch is the best. The others are just lame.
What are you on Safe Touch's payroll now?
What, you don't like it?
Just so I know you haven't completely lost it, tell me the Crooks Are Us motto again.
Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah, and don't you forget it.
Sorry, boss.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
This is Golic and Wingo.
NFL insider Adam Schefter is with us. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Tom Coughlin comes out with this statement. Where do you think this is headed?
They're going to be exploring other avenues, with them being one of the most, if not the most disappointing team in football, starting at a quarterback position. They'll start there, and they'll branch out, and I would expect that they'll obviously discuss the idea of moving on from Leonard Fournette, as they will with other disappointing players there this offseason.
Golic and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
So there's one song of me playing on my guitar, electric guitar, on YouTube. Can you take a guess what song that is?
I'm going to assume this one?
It's the band, but it's not this song. Thunderstruck.
Oh, Thunderstruck.
Yeah, obviously.
I should have come back.
It's all right, man. It's all right. We're still learning.
There you go. Can you play it well?
I could. Right at this moment, probably not. If I had a guitar, I would definitely put myself on the spot, but there's not one here, unfortunately. But I can probably still jam out a little bit.
So, how many years did you get after the guitar? Like that's like a thing sometimes, right? With us guys, you kind of like, all right, I'm in guitar mode, and I want to learn to play every song.
Usually, if you're having like a midlife crisis or something like that.
Well, a little later, not maybe, but like a teenage kid or
it started actually like my sophomore year of college. I started taking lessons and whatnot, and then it just during training camp and whatnot, when I had some free time, I'd play a little bit. So I'm mostly self-taught, but every once in a while I'll take it out and play a little bit.
Most talented guy you played with off the field, like a guy that might play the piano or an instrument or something like that. You're like, holy crap!
So Daniel Baldridge, we used to call him Buck. Went to he was at Marshall. I think he played like 2 years with the Jaguars. Might spend some time with the Patriots.
I remember Baldridge. Yeah.
I think he's got like a couple country albums out now.
Does he really?
I think he used to play at Mavericks every once in a while too, like the Honky Tonk Bar.
Huh.
Yeah, super talented singer. For like when like all the guys get together like for the rookie show or whatever like that, we actually made him sing his guitar and everything. So it was a cool scene. Super talented guy.
How about that? I might have to look him up. We'll have to see. I did not realize that. See that? Life after football.
There you go.
For everybody. All right, ratings are in. 33.7 rating, 48 share for the AFC Championship game. Deep into the night, that thing got up to a 40 rating and a 57 share, which is not quite Super Bowl numbers, but you're inching there. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Those are big time numbers. Rams and Saints did a 30 rating with a 49 share and topped out around, it looks like to me, late in that game, 35 rating and a 53 share. So huge numbers. That's just in Jacksonville yesterday, but big numbers. And you couldn't have asked for anything more if you're the NFL in terms of drama, storylines, and everything that followed in those two games. Sean McVay, 33 years old. We're going to talk about him a bunch over the next 2 weeks. I mean, he should not be coaching football and going to a Super Bowl at age 33. That should be a crime.
Yeah.
But aside from that, good for him, by the way. It's pretty awesome. What if he takes down the giant Belichick and Brady? I mean, like your legend grows with a win.
Well,
but your legend to beat those two guys at 33 years young might propel you into a different kind of stratosphere.
Think about how much his legend is already for the fact that the NFL teams that are looking for a coach this year have picked guys that have either known him or kind of share his philosophy, like these young, high-powered offense guys. Just imagine if he beats Belichick and the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I mean, teams might be hiring his neighbors, like anybody that's literally associated, anybody that shook it. I'll tell you right now, if I shake Sean McVay's hand, if he's here, he's not going to be here. But if I come across him one day, I shake his hand.
Maybe next week in Atlanta.
And a team's looking for a head coach, I'm at least getting a phone call. I'm at least getting a phone call and be like, hey, Slane, heard you know Sean McVay. Heard you shook his hand. Yeah, that's right.
It is.
How'd you like to come in for a head coaching interview? All right, yeah, I'll see what happens. Now, am I going to pass an interview? Probably not. I don't think my X's and O's are where they need to be. But Sean McVay shaking my hand gets me in the door. He's that big right now.
It is kind of the punchline right now. Wade Phillips even brought it up, I think, with his son who's coaching. He said, well, he's my son. And
Yeah.
So everybody's kind of onto that. But it is fascinating to think. I mean, 33 years young. You got a long, long way to go in a coaching career. And you're right, he is kind of changing the game in terms of some of his offensive creativity, his mind, and I think the willingness for organizations to go young. That's one of the reasons Lincoln Riley's job or name has been circulating so much in the NFL. I think Kingsbury getting that other opportunity in Arizona, that's one of the reasons, right? It's McVay, the youthfulness, all that stuff. People used to be afraid of that stuff in a lot of different professions, and they want experience. Well, he's changing the game a little bit right there.
Head coaches that can relate to players is starting to be the biggest thing, and Brent, we talked about it before. You have these old school mentality kind of guys, and that's great. It's structure. It's the way it's always been done. But can NFL players really relate to that, especially these days with social media and whatnot? And now you have a guy like McVay, young guy, 33 years old. and those guys play for him. You know, I mean, if you saw one thing with the Rams, like they were playing for him. You know, I mean, and I think that's going to be the trend going forward. It's getting the guys that can be leaders, that can bring all the egos together, kind of like Pete Carroll did back in Seattle. But even taking it up another notch and bringing guys that can totally relate to the players, I think is going to be the next trend in the NFL.
You just hit a home run with that take. Might be your best take in 6 days of doing this, by the way. Cool. And I think you're right on the money because we talked to Jarvis Pendleton earlier, right? We've talked to coach. The separation between athlete and the coach right now is at a crossroads because so many coaches are old school mentality. We laugh about Joe Cullen a little bit, but that's an old school mentality. Tom Coughlin, he's got an old school mentality. How does that fit and mesh with the modern day athlete? We already talk about in society the modern day millennial, and this is not to hammer a millennial or say anything bad. It's just different. That's what people will say. Up and down any profession, they'll say it's a different young person. It's you have to handle that person differently than maybe you would have 10 or 15 years ago. That's what most will say, and that comes into play, of course, in an NFL locker room when you're putting a lot of Eagles personalities, backgrounds together, and you're talking about this modern-day youthful player. So it's a fantastic point where some of these coaches can relate so much better than the ones with the fantastic resume, and we'll see if it continues to be a trend. Speaking of guys that 33 years old, doing big things just like Sean McVay. Let's go back to the Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 radio studios back home in Jacksonville and bring in Stuart Weber. What's up, Weber?
It's very lonely in here, guys.
It sounds it, actually.
Yeah, it's just me in here. It's kind of spooky.
Well, you could wave to Justin. He's on the other side of that glass.
But when I sit in my seat, I can't see him. That's the problem.
Yeah, true. Why didn't you go sit in one of our seats?
I wouldn't do that.
Oh, okay. Don't touch the seat. Keep it. I thought you were going to keep it warm. We're wanting to head back, bring in 6 for 6 on Stewart here on ESPN 690. And you just got back from a little golf. There's a little hoops tonight. What's happening back in Jacksonville?
Yeah, it's a little chilly out there for a golf tournament, but
it's warmer up here in Mobile. I will tell you
really?
that.
Oh, well,
yep.
Congratulations. So we had 2 really big amateur golf tournaments in Jacksonville this weekend, both of them wrapping up today. You had the First Coast Amateur over at Hidden Hills, which featured a lot of college guys down here just giving it their best shot, along with some regular old amateurs from here in Jacksonville who wanted to test themselves against a pretty strong field. And, they had some windy conditions yesterday, not as bad today, but still a little chilly. And then you had the Annika Invitational down at the Slammer and Squire World Golf Village, which went to a playoff. So we'll be talking about those golf events later tonight, plus UNF at home, a little A-Sun men's basketball tonight at UNF Arena as they take on NJIT, who's a pretty good team that beat JU this past weekend, and UNF could definitely use a win this evening. So we're keeping our eye on all things local here at Action Sports Jacks.
Here, that's a big game tonight for UNF, by the way. Richard Miller will be on the call for that one on ESPN+. And then I'll be back on the duties on Thursday for the River City Rumble at UNF. Huge week for the Ospreys. They're a good basketball team. They've lost to the 2 undefeated teams so far in the A-Sun. So good luck tonight to the Ospreys. Home game, 7 o'clock tonight. Get on out to UNF Arena. NJIT is a pretty good basketball team, so big game tonight before the River City Rumble. Want to keep you involved here, Stuart, for a moment, because I think the most talked about story of the weekend and of the next couple of weeks will be, and really it's hard to be under talked about during Super Bowl time because you get 2 weeks of talk, so they'll dig up every story possible. But I still think it's worth celebrating Greg Zuerlein's 57-yard kick.
Yeah.
I mean, that kick, you talk about nails. That thing was drilled from 57, and we can talk it might have gone 67. I'm just talking about in that moment, it was a no-doubter. In this day and age where field goal kicking seems doubtful on an extra point or in college or in pros, you're always curious and wondering what's going to happen next with the kickers. How are they going to be the latest GOAT? See Parkey from a couple weeks ago. Yet we won't celebrate this, but we would have hammered him if he had missed like a 35-yarder to win the game or tie the game and send it to overtime. Weber, I think that kick was about as good as it gets. Adam Vinatieri is like the greatest of all time, especially clutch kicks. Zuerlein just put his name at least on some sort of list.
Well, and we also can't forget that he had 4 field goals in that game.
Yeah.
4 of them.
Well, the one to tie it up was clutch too.
Yeah.
And that was a double breaker.
Yeah. Greg the leg man. Yeah.
Yeah, it was impressive. Obviously, that's that guy who, you have to rely on him on that biggest moment of the game. And, I'll let Austin give his opinion on where kickers fall as far as being football players. But, he's got the chutzpah there to get out there and put it through the uprights. Best part for him is that now he gets to go play in another dome for the Super Bowl. So, those kickers, they love the dome. They love that controlled climate. So he'll be able to get that when he moves on to Atlanta.
And it was a difference, by the way, if you watched the kicking yesterday, if you look at the two different venues, obviously inside from 57, was good, and the 48 didn't seem like a problem. But you could tell at Arrowhead, they were not willing to go with the 50-plus kick. They I forget what situation it was, but it was close to field goal range, but they punted. It was actually early in the game. Mahomes got sacked. It was a bad sack.
Yeah.
And I think he got sacked back at like the 36. Well, this day and age, a 53-yard kick is nothing. Mm-hmm. And you try that 10 out of 10 times. But because of the conditions, I think, the cold conditions, ball's not traveling as well, they decided against it. But, Gostkowski for New England has been clutch for a long, long time. But he's also had some bad moments in the last year or so. I think right now the Rams might have the edge when it comes to special teams. They've got a fantastic punter as well. We're not going to talk special teams much when we break down this game.
Punter's got an arm, by the way.
And he does have an arm. Again, well, you're right. That's a good call, Weber, because kind of forgot about that. It was the most important play of the game for the Rams. That was a gutsy call. You know why? Because that thing didn't even go beyond the sticks.
Nope.
Like, he still had to make a play. That ball was thrown behind the sticks. Hey, Weber, thanks for checking in. We'll see you tonight on TV, of course.
Yeah, 10:30 Fox 30, 11:20 on both CBS 47 and Fox 30. We will see you then.
All right, we appreciate Weber, all the stuff he's done for ESPN 690 in the last week, and also holding down the fort back home in Jacksonville on the TV side. We'll have some golf, we'll have some hoops, and we'll have everything from here in Mobile, Alabama. Our first TV hit tonight at 6:50 on Fox 30, and then Stuart mentioned tonight at 10 and 11 on Fox 30 and CBS 47.
Speaking of Patriots punters and kickers, shout out to Zoltan Mesko, who was the punter for our team here for the North Squad back in 2010. I remember him because he had by far the coolest name I've ever heard. Yeah.
Say it again.
Zoltan Mesko.
How about that?
Yeah, Zoltan.
I've never heard of him. We'll be back on ESPN 690.
From Michigan.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and the table has been set. We now know the Patriots and the Rams will be facing off in Atlanta in a few weeks for the Super Bowl. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, they combined for 6 catches, 74 yards yesterday. They've hit a stride, but they say there's one more game to go.
We found a way to play our best the last 4 games, and we're going to need one more great game.
It's huge. That's the trust that we have. Just to go out there and always be on the same page when we need to be is huge.
The first time Belichick and Brady won the Super Bowl together, Rams head coach Sean McVay was just 16 years old. Rams gunslinger Jeff Goff was just 7. The Pats are 11-0 in the postseason since 2001 when a player rushes for more than 100 yards, so look for them to get Sony Michel going early. Meanwhile, the Rams have feasted off the play action. They've run it most out of all 32 teams, so look for the Rams to fake it a ton to Gurley and CJ in the backfield. Listen to our stream for more analysis, live 24/7 at ESPN690.com.
Parents, there's a better option for your child's development and education. Seacoast Christian Academy is a private school here in Jacksonville that offers challenging and engaging educational opportunities. Focused on a college preparatory curriculum that is backed by strong Christian values, they take on children as young as a year old through 12th grade. Right now, Seacoast Christian Academy is enrolling students who have the Step Up Scholarship. Step Up is an income-based scholarship program that most don't realize they qualify for. And Seacoast Christian Academy is accepting applications right now. For more information, call them or click SeacoastChristianAcademy.com.
You change your oil every 3,000 miles, your home AC filter each month, and your mattress every 8 years. But when's the last time you thought about your roof? If it's getting close to time to replace, you need to visit JNMRoofing.com. J&M Roofing is Master Elite certified and Shingle Master certified. Ask about our multiple finance options, best warranties in the business, and we have 5-star Google reviews. Visit JNMRoofing.com. JANDM Roofing.com. We're the ones with the umbrella. We got you covered. JNMRoofing.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Come meet Shaquem Griffin and hear his inspirational story during a community event presented by Brooks Rehabilitation. Saturday, February 9th on the Flex Field at Daly's Place. Shaquem Griffin of the Seattle Seahawks will be in Jacksonville. The former UCF football star made history last year when he became the first one-handed player to be drafted to the NFL. Doors open at 10 a.m. on February 9th. This community event features exhibits and demonstrations, followed by a conversation with Shaquem Griffin. Register now at brookscelebrate.org. Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777, or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777, or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Hi, it's Nathan from Gordon Chevy in Orange Park, where our no-bull pricing and express sales process will have you out the door in your new Chevy fast. No bull means transparent, easy-to-understand pricing without the gimmicks or fluffy add-ons that just slow the process down. Fast, fair, and transparent is what you can always expect at Gordon Chevy. And right now, we have our new Silverados starting at $24,900, our new Colorado starting at $23,900, only at the money-saving end of Blanding Boulevard and online at GordonChevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
From the NBA to the NFL, we've got you covered. The worldwide leader in sports. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
The girls that you talk to nowadays, do they have to YouTube you, Google you? Do they remember seeing you? What is that relationship like, your golf career, compared to how they know you, Annika?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, I could be probably their mother, because some of these girls are 14 and maybe just a few years older than that. So yeah, time just flies when you're having fun. But luckily I keep relevant in the game of golf, whether it's through our foundation now, which is 10 years, or because a lot of times when these girls started to play, I wasn't the peak of my career, and it's fun to be around them. They have so much energy, and I still feel like I can share some of my thoughts and my best practices to them, and hopefully help them through their career.
As fans. That was my conversation, a little bit of it, with Annika Sorenstam, the great Annika Sorenstam, women's golfer, probably the greatest women's golfer of all time, in St. Augustine this weekend, hosting her own event, the Annika Invitational. Got a chance to sit down with her on Sunday afternoon and shared the entire interview on Action Sports Jax Primetime last night. Sunday nights on 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47. So it was pretty cool sitting down, pretty much the Tiger Woods of a women's golf. And she retired at 37, left so much good golf out there, yet had already won 93 times. And it was funny, I asked her, I said, could you do what Tiger did? Could you come back after a long layoff? She said, if I had a chance to practice a little. It was kind of this humble... Yeah, I still could do it.
Yeah, for sure.
But she said she hit every shot in her career that she wanted, so she really doesn't have much of a desire to do it. So pretty cool, but she's still an ambassador for golf all around the globe. And the Annika Invitational was a success down at World Golf Village here over the weekend. Welcome back to Mobile, Alabama. The Senior Bowl, Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Action Sports Jax, Marcel Robinson with us as well. And we had a lot of changing lanes today. Did you have time to think of a stay in your lane?
As I was praying for my life and texting my family that I love them, I happened to come up with a couple stay in your lane segments here. I always say it.
Marcel liked the cruise control.
He liked the cruise control today or when?
Well, no, he hit the cruise control a lot today.
For sure, absolutely.
He cruise controlled it like
Well, he
92.
did, and then he also slammed the brakes a lot when he was going 92 miles per hour, and there's a car, in the fast lane that was going, the speed limit, and we had to slow down a little bit. So
I told him at one time it looked like he was going to collide into the back of a couple of trucks.
Yeah.
One was just this normal truck. The one on the right was a Bud Light truck.
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
hey, if you're going to hit the truck, hit the Bud Light truck.
Aim right, for sure. Aim right.
Don't stay in your lane and go get the Bud Light truck.
No, exactly.
All right, what you got? Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. I mean, the pressure was on. I almost died this morning, but dang it, I got it done. So cruise control, props. I've been giving a lot of props this segment, and hopefully tomorrow we can talk about something else. But today it is the Tom Brady show. So cruise control is going to Tom Brady. 3-0 in overtime in the playoffs. 74% playoff winning percentage. His 9th Super Bowl appearance. I'm not going to lie. I saw him walk in the game. He had like a walking Ugg boot for a jacket. Didn't know if it was alpaca, if it was lamb, what kind of animal was killed to make that jacket. I was not a fan. I was kind of a hater, actually. Brent, hate to admit that. But then he goes out, dominates the game, takes him to another Super Bowl. And after, I was like, let me see if I can find that jacket on Amazon or eBay or something like that. Because you know what? That jacket actually looked pretty good. And come to find out, I think it was alpaca. Yeah, I mean, especially, it's a little chilly right now, even in the South, so the polar vortex coming in. So, Ugg jacket. Tom Brady hooked me up, man.
Yeah, that's and by the way, did you see as he was walking out of the stadium in that jacket, him and Gronk, they shared a little Instagram message, I think it was, and it was silence, but it was just a shrug of the shoulders.
So I'm starting to see a trend with Tom Brady getting on more and more like Instagram stories and whatnot. I mean, this kind of dates back a couple weeks ago when he was like, no one wants us to win. Everyone's rooting against me. Like, Tom, I get it. Like you have to find some way to motivate yourself. No one's cheering against you, man. I mean, we still respect you and everything. Granted, I picked against you twice here the past couple weeks, and I'm sorry.
Picking against you, maybe not cheering.
Yeah, well, exactly. But you know what? It tastes good with peanut butter cups. Humble pie. And that's what I'm eating right now. So, Tom Brady, props to you, cruise control.
All right. Well, we didn't pump the brakes much on the trip to Mobile, but you can pump the brakes on a Monday.
We slammed the brakes a couple times, but we didn't really tap the brakes or pump the brakes. So, yeah, slam the brakes. We talked about it before. Got to talk about it again. The refs from the Saints-Rams game. I gotta say it one more time. Brent, you ever play Madden before?
I have, actually. That might surprise you, but I have.
That's shocking to me. It's not supposed to go you're supposed to say no.
Oh, sorry, no.
This is supposed to be a bit. No, it's okay.
I thought you want to bring up Tecmo Bowl?
No, it's okay. I'm going to adjust. But basically, in Madden, like, say if you're playing Madden and you're on defense and you kind of select the player, like the safety or corner, that's what it reminded me of, where he just literally tackled the guy. You hit the box button when you hit the triangle button for the interception play. You messed up the controller. They messed up this call. They messed up the whole game. Saints should be going to the Super Bowl. They're not. It doesn't come down to one play, but that's a big play that didn't get called. And unfortunately, the Saints are suffering because of it.
Another addition to Stay in Your Lane, big on the Sunday games, championship games, which had plenty of drama, plenty of controversy as well. One thing that I did not mention about these championship games, you know how it was a year ago, right? Jags lose to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Yep. Miserable feeling. It was really just so deflating, that whole feeling. But as bad as it felt, is it possible that the two teams that just lost yesterday feel even worse? Would it have been worse to lose in overtime? Would it have been worse to lose? I know the Miles Jack wasn't down, and there were a couple of plays in that game but still, those were like close calls. Would it have been worse to lose the way the Saints lost? And would it have been worse to lose the way KC lost with this offense and at home and hadn't been in 49 years?
So I'm going to be honest, and this is coming from a guy who never went to a playoff game in his whole entire career, who had a 2-win season in Jacksonville. I don't think it really matters, man. I mean, I can't speak to the fact of losing in overtime and things like that, but it sucks to lose, and it sucks to see another team go to the Super Bowl. It's almost like, and that's the thing. I've been to the Super Bowl parties, and I've been to the Super Bowl weekends, but I've never actually been to the Super Bowl game. Why? Because I'm bitter. I'm upset that I'm not playing there. I'm upset that somebody else is. I mean, it's almost like you see like an ex-girlfriend and she's with somebody else, and like you're just bitter and you don't want to go on Facebook, but you kind of want to watch the game a little bit, but you don't want to watch the game. And it's a vicious cycle, man. It's mental gymnastics. So as far as the way you lose, I mean, yeah, I'm sure you'd rather lose in a blowout. Coming down to one play is going to hurt even more, but make no mistake about it. If you're in the playoffs or you're just watching at home from a 2-win season, it hurts to watch that Super Bowl.
Yeah, you just said it good from a player's perspective. I think from the fans' perspective, though, I almost wonder if this was more deflating, heart-wrenching, and also, and just like the Jags, we said it, I'm telling you, Dan Hicken and I sat on the post-game show on the field, Gillette Stadium, minutes after that loss. We went live on television, and we said it. It is so hard to get back here, 5 to 7 minutes away from a Super Bowl. It is so hard. And what yesterday did to me is exemplify how hard it is and make it feel, a year ago the Jags seemed so close, and now they couldn't feel further away. If you can be Patrick Mahomes in this offense with Andy Reid at home at Arrowhead, and you can be Drew Brees with Sean Payton at home with a 13-0 lead, and not go to the Super Bowl with those rosters, with that offense, with those quarterbacks, it shows you how hard it is to get to the Super Bowl, which is only more amazing that Brady and Belichick get there every freaking year, and actually makes you more miserable to even think about it. And I'll give you one other fan base that should be maybe tops of all, miserable of most. St. Louis.
Yeah, that's something you don't even
The
talk
people
about.
in St. Louis are saying it should have been us.
Yeah.
And the people in L.A., I'm still not convinced they even like the Rams or know they exist there. Those St. Louis fans, you got to feel a little bit for them. I know they had it a couple years, like back in the late 90s and early 2000s, but a bitter pill to swallow, I think, for the St. Louis fans the next couple of weeks as well. We'll put a bow on the show from Mobile, Alabama when we come back. Who we are going to watch other than QBs tomorrow when they hit the practice field here in Mobile. That's next on ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Jacksonville's Morning News host, Rich Jones. If you're here looking for news, weather, and traffic from News 104.5 WOKV, you need to change your radio preset. We're now only on 104.5 FM. If you're here for all things sports, you are in the right place. This is ESPN 690, Golick and Wingo, Dan Lebitard, Stephen A. Smith, and the home of Action Sports Jacks on the radio. The best news on 104.5 FM, the best sports on 690 AM.
All offers are with approved credit and not a conjunction. See dealer for complete details. Start something new sales event. If you need a new car, truck, or SUV and think you can't afford it, you can. At Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Arlington. Start the year right with a brand new Ram truck. We've got the best selection and guarantee you the best deal. Buy now and save up to $12,000 off MSRP. $12,000. Drive the very popular Jeep Cherokee starting from just $19,988. With hundreds of Jeeps in stock every day, we'll have the one you want. Save $4,000 on a new Compass or Wrangler Unlimited. Get a new Renegade starting at just $16,988. Save up to $9,000 on Chrysler 300. Our lenders want to make you a new car loan today. 100% credit approval is our goal all month long. Get the new car, truck, or SUV you really want. Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Arlington. Fast and friendly service you can count on. 9600 Atlantic Boulevard, across from the Regency Square Mall.
There's a place in North Jacksonville where babies are born in the region's most modern, comfortable labor and delivery suites, where life-saving emergency care is available around the clock, where top UF Health doctors offer the latest advances in medical care. That place? UF Health North. Conveniently located off I-95 on Max Leggett Parkway, UF Health North is quickly becoming the region's top choice for healthcare. Learn more at north.ufhealthjacks.org.
Hey, it's Bill with Bill Fenwick Plumbing. Do you have to wait a long time for hot water to reach your bathroom in the morning? Some of our customers have told me they turn their water on in their bathroom, go make the bed, brush their teeth, and finally the hot water reaches the end of the house. Not only does it waste water, but it also adds additional water and sewer charges on your utility bill. We can now install a pump that monitors your hot water usage daily and moves water down to that side of the house when you need it, without the wait. To schedule or find out more, call us or go to BillFenwickPlumbing.com.
Introducing Salt Life Lager, the perfect beer for those who live the salt life. Salt Life Lager is also the perfect beer for those who live the outdoor life, the beach life, the fishing life, the festival life, the boat life, the yacht life, the tailgate life, the stay home and relax life, even the sit around and talk about life.
I can't hear.
In fact, Salt Life Lager is the perfect beer for just about any life, starting with yours. Salt Life Lager, a salty state of mind. Available now at ABC Liquors, Publix, and Winn-Dixie locations. Visit saltlifebeer.com for more information. Must be at least 21 to drink. Please drink responsibly.
From Daytona Beach to Brunswick, now ESPN can be heard loud and clear everywhere on one of the most powerful AM radio stations in Florida. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Earlier in the day, we saw Jarris Pendleton, former 7th-round pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars, now a scout with the Indianapolis Colts. So we got to catch up with him. Now Austin Lane seeing like everybody. That's what happens. He's a rock star around here, alum of the Senior Bowl. Just saw what some of your agents and marketing folks.
So I ended up seeing my old agent who actually recruited me from Murray State. We sat in Applebee's because that's all Murray State had at the time was an Applebee's. So sat in Applebee's and I signed with him, and then also Emily Reese, who did like a lot of my marketing and stuff. She got me all the goodies back in the day.
Awesome. Well, keep the agents away. All right. We want to keep you around for a little bit.
Oh no, it's all good. But I'm gonna talk to Emily some more because she had a pair of Uggs. Did you see those Uggs she was carrying for those for players?
I saw 2 boxes.
Brent,
I saw size 11. That's perfectly
that's
fine.
For you? Okay. Well, let's
what
see
size are you?
I'm 15, man.
Yeah,
so
I don't know if she's carrying that around.
I'm screwed. Yeah.
No wonder why you don't have new Vans. You know what? You've had those shoes for 4 years.
It's a good point, man. It is hard
to
find my
size.
15? You know what? It's hard to find my size, obviously, but when I do, it's cheap and it's sweet.
Very good. I like it. What size shoes? Marcel?
I am a size 14, and I adopt the same motto.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
I find it, it's a good deal.
But I mean, is there anything worse than like being in high school and you can't go to Foot Locker because all the shoes they don't fit your size? I mean, that was like the most disappointing part of growing up as a kid with big feet was the fact that all my friends would be in the mall going to Foot Locker and I'd be like, hey, you got any size 13, 14? No, unfortunately, we're out of those.
So where'd you get them? Like they didn't have
East
online.
Bay. Yeah, it was East Bay back in the day.
Well, they might have had online when you were doing it.
Yeah, it was East Bay mostly.
I got one better for you. It's worse. Going to shop for football gloves with all of your shorter friends who have smaller hands and shopping for football gloves, and they're trying on all the different styles and colors, and because you have 12-inch fingers, there's 2 gloves in the entire store that fit you, and they're only black and white.
There you go.
If there were 180 days of school, I got to believe between my junior and senior year, I wore the same pair of jeans. If that's 360 collectively, probably 355 of them.
I mean, you've seen these black jeans I've been rocking the past 4 days in a row, Brent, so I ain't going to hate on you. I mean, this is coming from the guy who, because obviously getting the NFL, you have to get a suit. This is a guy that refused to wear suits and had to go to Joseph A. Bank. I called it Joseph A. Bank. But my mom had to literally drag me to the Joseph A. Bank because I refused to get a suit. So it was her responsibility to get me one. So I had a pinstripe suit that I wore for my entire career, and I just changed the shirts underneath it. But I only had one suit my entire career. Yeah, man, come on.
Not a suit guy.
I'm not a suit guy, but ironically, then of course when I got married, then I was all about it. I had to have the 3-piece suit looking fresh and everything like that. But when I was coming out of college, man, I could care less.
I mean, the fashion right now is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
These guys. I mean, did you see Hopkins a few weeks back, toward the end of the regular season? I mean, what was that?
I don't know, but we both know that I have no room to talk about.
No. Marcel takes 45 minutes to get dressed.
Okay, fair
daily.
enough.
For that. Forget about when he puts a suit on.
Yeah.
So it's unbelievable. Hey, news around the NBA real quick. Big name, but really doesn't change anything in the NBA. Carmelo Anthony, is he done? I mean, he's just got traded to the Bulls, and then he says he's not even going to show up and play for the Bulls, which means he'll get cut.
I wouldn't either.
But who cares? I mean,
yeah, he's it's been a long thing for Melo. As being an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, when he came, he's got this whole I'm not going to change my game, even though all of the NBA is changing around me. Just that whole ISO ball from the block, it just doesn't work anymore. Teams are running and gunning and playing defense, and he just refuses to change. And every team he goes to, he plays maybe a few games and say, you know what, this isn't going to work, and then they pass him around like a box of chicken nuggets.
I'm starving, by the way.
Chicken nuggets are good.
My mouth is watering right now.
Did you really go to a place? I'm not going to mention the place, just in case they become a sponsor of ours. You went to a place outside of here earlier to get a sandwich, and they were out of bread? Monday.
I did, and then I had to walk a quarter to a half a mile around the block, almost got lost to find another source of nourishment, but they came in the clutch.
Smelled good.
Hey, did you notice that he didn't bring anything back for us?
Yeah, exactly.
One way like Angel Street.
Good point, man. Marcel, I'm starting to dock points already for you, man.
See what happened was I figured you had your food with you because I know you're on a very strict diet, so I didn't want to interrupt it with any temptation.
Strict diet, dude. I'm on my 12th Reese's peanut butter cup right now. Literally, I just been eating them during the show. Like, there is no strict diet. This is a vacation for me.
I've literally had, not a lie, 15 of these things.
Oh, yeah.
Already. And I'm going to get another handful more when this is done before we do TV. Yeah. Hey, Kuz, I miss you back there, buddy. I saw the Rockets-Lakers Saturday night. That was a pretty good game.
Yeah, man. James Harden's still out there doing his thing,
Yeah, he was about, what, he got 48, and he could have had more if he wanted to, I felt like. But the Lakers actually should have won that game. I mean, the way they played, especially through the first, really it was the first half. They played a tremendous first half.
Yeah.
NBA is hilarious. So you can be down 25 points. By the fourth quarter, you know where that thing's going. It's going to be tied.
Yeah.
Kuz, I have to ask you, what were your thoughts about Caldwell Pope's shot towards the end of the game there?
My problem with I don't know. I don't know if he's the one you want shooting the shot. You know what I mean? There's better options.
Maybe don't airball the shot.
Yeah, maybe hit the rim.
Right. I guess if we're going to talk about actually also don't airball it.
I mean, listen, I'm the last guy to be giving guys basketball advice there, but at least try to hit the rim is what I would say to him.
And something you guys were just talking about, you talk about Carmelo Anthony, and now he's not wanting to go to the Bulls and all that stuff. I mean, Lakers have been tied to Melo kind of pretty consistently, so there's a lot of people, talking about that right now, if there's a way they can land him through this whole deal somehow.
It's a bad move.
All right, let's keep an eye on, we're here at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Let's circle a name of a player that you're looking for tomorrow. That a lot of these guys, I think, if you're deep diving into scouting all football season, I think you are probably paying attention and you know these names. But for the casual listener out there, the people that are saying, okay, who the Jags going to pick up in these first, the third, the fifth round, who's a name to keep an eye on? Who's a player that you might watch in the next couple of days that will catch your attention or at least you want to see?
So the Senior Bowl, it's all about kind of proving that you belong in it. So I'm going to pick a small school guy, tight end, not necessarily an early round draft pick, might be might be a undrafted free agent, but a guy I'm watching by the name of Donald Parham from Stetson University, tight end. Listen to this, 6'8", 245-pound former basketball player. You know how much NFL teams like former basketball players. I can't wait to watch him at practice tomorrow. I'm going to ask him if he wants to go to the YMCA later, and we can play some, pick up basketball maybe. I'll show him what I got on the basketball court. And, I'm going to be watching Donald Parham for sure. Stetson University. Keep an eye on that name.
You know what's funny? I circled that guy, too. He's 6'8", 222, right? At least here.
Well, so
and some have like
245. Yeah, but
so
that's generous, I'm sure.
It just depends. Let's just make sure. I don't want to give that guy a bad name. 222 seems kind of slight, doesn't it, for 6'8"?
Absolutely. But here's the thing, though. So this is the official roster, so I'm just going by what the website tells me.
Yeah, the official roster here that I have in my hand says 6'8", 222. So either way, whether he's 222 or 245, I want to get a look at that guy. What does that look like at the tight end spot?
I mean, if he's 222, that's like sickly looking, I feel like.
Yeah. Hey, here's a guy that walked by us earlier. You shook his hand, and you said, I can't wait to watch you these next couple of days. This is the guy I thought you were going to go with. That's why I circled Parham. So I'll steal your guy.
Steal my guy then. Go ahead.
Could he be a Wes Welker type? Could he be an Edelman type?
That's kind of the talks right now.
It feels like this kid out of Massachusetts, Andy Isabella, 5'10", 195. He's a solid 5'10", 195. You brought up the fact that he runs a sub 4.4.
4.4 and possibly a 4.3 is what some draft websites are that I'm reading are telling me here.
So, that's a guy that intrigues you all the time. See, now when I think wide receiver, I'm thinking playmaker for the Jags. But I'm thinking, give me like the kid out of Louisville, right? 6'4", 220, Jalen Smith.
Yep.
I like that size.
4 minutes.
The Jags could use that. They've got D.D. Westbrook, who's a slighter frame. Mm-hmm. They've got Keelan Cole right now, and I don't know if he'll be a part of things.
And Marquise. But Marquise is a thick guy, but he's going to be your possession guy more so, at least the role that he's played here in Jacksonville to this point. But, I mean, you need the A-Rob type. You need the guy that's going to go win the 50-50 ball. You need that in the clutch in the postseason, what we saw these last couple of weeks, especially yesterday. You need a guy to go make a play. 6'4", 220, I like that. Mm-hmm. At least I'm intrigued by that. But I also do this Isabella kid, you can find those guys, right? Maybe it's a 4th, 5th round, and then you utilize speed, jet sweep stuff, all this misdirection that people are doing pre-snap.
that's where I see a guy like that fitting in, these little quick outs, options, get an accurate passer who can put it on the mark, and you can't defend that stuff. So I love the idea of some of these guys from big to small that we might be on display the next couple of days.
Well, here we go with Andy Isabella from Massachusetts. You know, the big knock on him, he hasn't played against great competition, and he'd have a really good quarterback throwing the ball to him. So this is his chance to kind of shine out, show what he's got. I mean, he has the speed, he's got the feet, so now it's time to put it in motion here and see what he can do against better talent.
Talk to some scouts again. Defensive line is heavy.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't fit the Jags this year.
Not this year, but you know the old mantra, you can never have enough pass rushers.
It is true. And I will say this, with Fowler gone, I think we, again, don't get wrapped up. I always thought the Fowler importance was what if Yannick had to miss a game or two?
Right.
Well, then who do you feel comfortable with? The Jags will need a pass rusher in this draft, if not two. You cannot have enough of them, and I think they will target that. But we are so focused on offense at this time.
Right.
A heavy defensive draft is not a bad thing for the Jags, because if more people are getting the top players from the defense, that leaves offensive guys on the board that would normally go off the board quick.
Right.
You know what I mean? Supply and demand. As simple as that. The Jags might be able to get a decent pass rusher in the third round.
Right.
Because of the depth of the position. They might not be able to get a big-time playmaker in the third round.
Yep, exactly.
At the pass-catching position. So it'll be fascinating to watch, but really hands down, you talk about the strength of this draft. It's on the defensive side. It's on the big guys on the defensive side, and really on that defensive line. I think even more so than actual traditional pass rushers. But we'll see what plays out in front of our eyes. We've got our eyes on the quarterback and some of these playmakers that we just mentioned, tight ends, wide receivers. We get to dissect it all over the next couple of days. Bring us closer to the action, Marcel Robinson. You've got the zoom-in lens tomorrow at practice.
I'm zooming. Let's get it.
All right. That's going to do it from day one here in Mobile, Alabama. We made it.
We survived.
We cruise controlled. We slammed on the brakes. We made it in a record time. We ate Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Austin Lane reunited with so many fine folks here at the Senior Bowl.
Could be an UGG sponsorship on the horizon here.
Hey, by the way,
my cards right?
I think there's a Senior Bowl Hall of Fame. You scored a touchdown, man.
That's good.
And now you've come back and done radio.
Yeah.
I mean, your resume's building.
One step at a time, Brent. We still have to find Mel Kiper and let him know that I actually got drafted. And like he said, I wasn't going to get drafted. So
I want to find
Mel Kiper. You're still on my list. That keg of beer is still on my list. A lot of things happening here in Mobile, Alabama.
We're going to get into that. We're going to find Mel.
If I have to buy a keg myself and put it in that lunchroom, I'm going to do it because something's getting tapped in there. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I got a hotel room too. It'll be somewhere.
I have to make this. Yeah, it might be in the bathtub. We never know, Brent. We are rooming together. We'll see what happens.
All right. For Stuart Weber, Marcel Robinson, Austin Lane, I'm Brent Martineau, and thanks to Justin Kuzart back home in Jacksonville. We'll do it again tomorrow at 3 o'clock from Mobile, Alabama, in the Senior Bowl here on ESPN 690. Have a good night. See you on TV tonight.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update. I'm Aaron, and the table has been set. We now know the Patriots and the Rams will be facing off in Atlanta in a few weeks for the Super Bowl. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, they combined for 6 catches, 74 yards yesterday. They've hit a stride, but they say there's one more game to go.
We found a way to play our best the last 4 games, and we're going to need one more great game. It's huge. That's the trust that we have. Just to go out there and always be on the same page when we need to be is huge.
The first time Belichick and Brady won the Super Bowl together, Rams head coach Sean McVay was just 16 years old. Rams gunslinger Jeff Goff was just 7. The Pats are 11-0 in the postseason since 2001 when a player rushes for more than 100 yards, so look for them to get Sony Michel going early. Meanwhile, the Rams have feasted off the play action. They've run it most out of all 32 teams, so look for the Rams to fake it a ton to Gurley and CJ in the backfield. Listen to our stream for more analysis, live 24/7 at ESPN690.com.
At World Imports, we're car people. We love cars. If you're in the market for a luxury pre-owned automobile, we can help. We don't just sell you a car. We help you select your car, the car you've been dreaming about. No gimmicks here, no free TVs, and we won't put your car in a new age vending machine. Audi, BMW, Infiniti.